Hello, everyone. Welcome to the pre-Boston Major Rankings. I've got Bop and Mel with me today. This is gonna be a blast. Bop, how are you doing first?
Doing good. I'm doing good. I'm excited. I think we got some interesting lists today, so I'm excited to see what the reveal is going to be like.
Absolutely. And then Mel, you're here as well. I know you're going to Boston. How excited are you for this major?
Oh my goodness. I'm very excited especially because I'm working my butt off for it. I just came back from working 8 hours in the morning and it's only 4 o'clock. Okay. But I guess that's what it's like to be an adult, although I'm not an adult yet. So,
Yep.
but I'm very excited. And this should be interesting. I think this is the most competitive we Rocket League has been in over 6 years. Like this is I wouldn't even say it's the best level, but in terms of competitiveness, I think with the highest competitiveness, and I think they're genuinely like 6 teams that can win Boston, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, I'd be excited to see your top six then. See what teams you think could end up taking home this trophy. But as for me, I am also going to Boston. I'm excited to see you there. I'm excited to meet a lot of people.
Hell
And
yeah.
yeah, I've also this is the first video. I don't know. I think you guys can't see it because I don't have my camera on, but this is the first video that I've got the new background set up. I recorded with 50 earlier this week, and I guess that was the first reveal of having this brand new background. But here we are.
I saw that actually. I did
So
see that.
um
Mm,
I'm excited
nice.
about this. I got my PC, I got my desk back, and we're ready to go. We're ready to unveil some rankings. So I'm gonna stop waffling,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll go ahead. I'll start off the honorable mentions right
Mm-hmm.
once I figure out how to get to the correct tab. Okay, and I've I've excluded the
There's so
differences.
much going
Um,
on.
yeah, I've dropped Gen G. I mean, I'm sorry, they were at 20 last week, and then they proceeded to do the exact same thing that they did the previous week, especially after I considered that they probably wouldn't do that this time. Losing the two series that they did, it
Mm-hmm.
was it
Mm.
was just too much for me to keep them in the top 20. And then I absolutely had to shout out the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs for winning that OCE regional in the reverse sweep. It's you were mentioning how it's a competitive thing on the world stage. There's 6 teams that can win it. Apparently, OCE might be the competitive
Yeah.
region if they got 3 different regional winners. So, absolute scenes happening over there. But
No, that's insane. Like, what? Got wild card getting knocked out by C.B. Are you serious?
yeah, I
Not
think
only that, but they knock out Power?
I think I tweeted out
It's
earlier in the day.
crazy.
It's like Wildcard had dropped one singular game since losing the first Open. I think they had lost one single game in 2026, and then they proceed to get swept right after that. I'm like, what are we doing? But shout out to the guys who did it. Go on,
The
win the event.
duality of OCE, dude.
It's a hoot. It's a hoot for sure. Um, Bop, I'm gonna go ahead and unveil your honorable mention. You've got Magnifico here.
Fair,
Curious to
fair.
hear your thoughts
Got
on the end of their
Magnifico
split.
here. So I think overall, like that's kind of a split that kind of expected. Getting in that like sixth, seventh range right there. Barely missing out on the major. That's kind of where I had them, and then they're kicking talks, picking up Nico right here, which I think is a phenomenal pick. I think
Yeah.
Nico is one of the best prospects out of EU right now. I think Nico definitely has the opportunity to bring this team to a top five, top four level. So I'm very excited. I was a big fan of Nico's team. They didn't perform as well as they could have. I think they were looking good in the beginning and then kind of fell off a little bit. This is the kind of player that I want to see at Lands. I think he's going to do amazing at Lands. I think with Magnifico, with Atomic Reserves by his side, this should be a Land squad right here.
Yeah. I think if you had more spots, I'd be like, yeah, they're absolutely a shoe in. But I mean, you got a pretty strong five in EU. These guys could definitely break into it. I agree with that as well. So, and then Mel, you've got no honorable mentions. I know you mentioned before the stream the reason for that, but do you want to state for the people why you've got no honorable mentions?
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't make the top 20, he didn't make the top 20. He just not good enough. And that's point blank period. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, if I had to honorable mention someone that is not, it's in my list right now.
Call it a dishonorable mention.
I
Yeah.
would give an honorable, uh, yeah, a dishonorable mention to Magnifico.
Oh,
How in the hell do you fumble your points positioning like that? And I mean, the series you got to win, and their level was so good. Their level has been so good that, like, for me, I'm surprised that they didn't make it, and they had less points even than Manchester City. You know, I do think like at their peak they are the number 3 team in all of Europe. Um and their level, it just fluctuates so much, and I just couldn't be comfortable putting it there. And I do think Talk's a really good player, but I think they're letting him go. So he's going to try and find a new home somewhere over the rainbow.
Yeah. Yep. Could be anywhere. Could be anywhere. We've seen him in MENA so far. So, but yeah, let's get into number 20. I don't think
He's
I'm
gonna
done.
replace Rise on
Oh,
Genji.
Oh gosh. Let's go. Oh, we got double power. We got a Genji sandwich right here. Okay. Um, I think
wow.
the way we've run this before is that whoever's the odd one out, they're the one talking first. So, Bob, give me your thoughts on Genji.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of already said it, Martian. It's like this team, I had them a little bit higher in the rankings last week, and I thought like maybe they could bounce back. I know they didn't have a great open two. I was like, okay, this team could bounce back. I mean, you got literally Rise on this team, one of the iciest players of all time. You got Justin, one of the iciest players of all time. Magic Bear, very talented player. I was like, surely this team, I feel like they might not make the land, but I thought going into open three should at least be a top eight, maybe top 16, and they just fell off completely fell off. They looked horrible. Like they didn't even look like they knew how to play Rocket League. I was very, very surprised right here. And so I still have them in my top 20 because I don't know if they'll make a roster move. I don't know what they'll do. I think they'll still be a competitive team in NA next split. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the major, if they make World still. But
Something like
it's
that.
just weird. Something like that, something. It's like this team has so much potential. On paper, they should be a crazy squad, but I don't know what's going on. So we'll see. I have them at 20. They could easily drop out. They could easily go back in the top 10. We'll see.
Hey, I'm so proud of Bot right now. I never heard him just go off on a team like that. Said they don't know how to play Rocket League. That's my favorite Bot moment. I'm not gonna lie. Finally, we got blunt Bop on the channel. I love to see it. I
Yeah.
love to see it.
I was I
Marcia, why'd you put power down before I go? 'Cause
Oh yeah. Honestly, thinking back on it, I'm not sure. They didn't win the event, which is why you'd think they would make their way into this
yeah,
ranking.
real bro.
But they're at least attending the major. I think it's just mainly a sign of respect for the fact that they do end up qualifying, even if they do get reverse swept in that final. I'm able to almost chalk that up. I know I'm giving them an honorable mention and then completely like dogging on their performance, where it's like, how does wild card get swept? How do you let yourself get reverse swept to the final? It's like I could see how your brain is no longer in it after you've gotten to the stage where it's like you're going to the major, we're cruising through a final, and then you just kind of let it slip. But I'm excited to see them at the major. I think they actually have a solid chance of getting out of their group. They've got as good of a pull that you can ask for, and I know there's a lot of people that would have more faith in Wildcard making it out of that group if Wildcard was attending. But I don't think you should sleep on this power squad trying to, all they've got to do, in my opinion, is beat Ninja Pajamas, and then do what else is expected of them. So
Yeah,
Fair. I
no,
might have
I I
more to
I
say about
I
Power after.
agree. No, talk to me about what's up.
Well, when 19 is revealed, I'll have something to say.
okay, okay,
Okay. So the reason I put power at 20 is because fiber. This is because fiber. You know what I'm saying? I've seen this brother come and terrorize ranked North America. I've seen power scrim and that brother was 1v3ing. Like, oh my gosh, that brother can play the game. And I have so much faith in him. And if fiber, I mean, Lockie's like probably the best player in LCE right now. But if Fiber is on his day, I think that is a team that can make top 8. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. That's a really good team right there. So, yeah, I think Power genuinely has the ability to kind of prove whatever the blast format was coming in, taking the spot away from OCE wrong and saying, hey, we have multiple competitive teams now by pushing not for the first time in a while, not a Torsas team into contention for making top 8s and top 6s like Wildcard have been able to do at the World Championship and the events before.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we see what Fiber can do when he's popping off, and it is his day. He's taking down Genji in one of the most dramatic fashions, and that was the Genji squad of apparently Jack. Chronic and First Killer, I think it was. That was a dark day for North America, I know. But that was the last time Fiber was in North America, so we'll see if he can repeat that kind of performance. Um, and yeah, all he's got to do is win one series. So while we're on the topic, though, we might as well finish our thoughts on Power. Bob, talk to me about these guys.
It's true. It's true. I feel like yeah, you could pick any one of these three OC teams. I think on the day they could all beat each other. Very close, very close. But like Mel said, I think Super Lucky probably the best player in the region. I think he's been the best player for a while. I know Wildcard, this squad has been usually making the lands over Super Lucky's teams, but I'm just a big fan of Super Lucky. I've been a fan of him for many years. I think he's one of the most consistent players we've ever seen, especially out of this region right here. And all they have to do is beat NIP. They make top eight. That's all they got to do, really. Unless they like choke somewhere else, they could lose in 5 years.
All
But
they have to do is be NIP. I love that comment.
I mean,
all
that's
they gotta
it.
do is beat NIP. That's light work right there. Light work for them. So the squad got potential. I'm very happy to see them here. I think honestly with the wild card, I feel like I give them less of a chance. I feel like Power has a little bit of a higher ceiling. So I'm excited to see what they could do here at LAN.
Interesting. Okay.
All right, and then Mel, we've got Dig and M80 here. These are two teams that went head to head last regional, and honestly, it was a bit of a surprise to me. But M80 ended up taking that. You want to talk to me about them first?
Who am 80?
Yep.
Um, Yeah, no, dude, I have so much confidence in this team, and they have shown so much flashes of brilliance. No pun, going back to the
Yep.
team
Yep.
name, flashes of brilliance. But no, they have shown so many like the ability to raise their level in hard spots. Not only that, but being able to compete really well against the best teams in the region. Okay, is really really good. And in the beginning of the year, I'll tell you, they were not getting good scrims. I'll tell you that much. They were not getting good scrims. Now they are scrimming the world. You know what I'm saying? Because of how good they are. Like life on this roster was an addition. So many people doubted him, and I don't know what happened. Nick came in, changed the culture. They had all this drama. Ended up dropping Devo and who was it? Devo and Eris,
Yeah.
and they brought in and Nick, who was the team captain, and Nick decided to bring in Nolly because of his professionalism, and then Life because he is this really what was he 15? I think maybe 16 now. I don't know if he's still 15. Really young, very mechanical. Okay, prodigy that didn't know and still might not completely understand how to play threes. But as you can see, the ceiling is endless. It's endless. And all Nick had to do as a coach was just be able to get him to play a system, get the best out of him, get anything out of him, and he did exactly that. And M80 were being able to play very competitive to all of these different teams. And I think Mech is just so good. I just like no glaze. I think the kid's just incredible. I think in a year's time, he's going to be making every single major, every single championship, and he's going to win a regional. Like in a year's time, I think he's going to be like the top three player in North America in a year, or even less. That's just my faith in that kid. He's just so good.
Yeah. I mean, it feels very similar to, we were hearing whispers about Talk all of last season, and they didn't have as much RLCS success as Mech has been having this year, but he was around. He had that, stint with Calm and Evo, I think it was, and then obviously in the second split, didn't look like he was going to get a great team. That still baffles me in hindsight, considering what we've seen out of him this split. But he ends up just kind of casually running it with Tricky and Seamus. They end up making a couple of the main events. But it's like everyone still knows this guy's going to be, he's coming at some point. Eventually, he's going to be there, and he is by far and away here now. It's like I feel like Mac is primed and ready to go for that next thing. We've already seen it in like the LCQ and the start of the split. But yeah, I could definitely understand that. And me having Dignitas here at 19, I know I like to obey the head to head, and I guess I've gone against that because I don't have M80 on my list. I feel like they haven't taken as many quality wins as
Mm.
Dignitas has. I think I mean, they took down Space Station twice. Not that many people paid too much attention to what happens in the Swiss stage, but they took down Energy there to go 3-0. They end up beating Genji to make it out of the group as well. I think No, it was Foot that beat Gen G earlier in the day for that one. But these guys have consistently shown that, hey, we can compete at the top as well. In Europe, it looks like it's the Man Cities and Magnificos that are outside looking in for the land spots that are eager and ready to jump up and take the crown from those who have it. Uh, this split, it's really looked like Dignitas and Amedi in North America, and that's surprising to say considering Gen G just missed the land. So yeah, I've got Dig at 19. They didn't take too big of a quality win, and I know they end up dropping in top 6, I believe it was this last event. But wouldn't be surprised to see them continue this forward momentum. So, all right.
Yeah, no, they've been really competitive. Whenever you're ready to show the next one, you can show the next one. I'm just saying, like this, that team has been so competitive. Tig,
Yeah.
like the win, like they beat Space Station last time in other regional in Game 7.
Yep.
Dude, they were just the way they've raised their level with bar is so good.
Yeah. All right. I got number 16 unveiled already. We got R8, Man City, and Team Secret. So all around the world, we've had some OCE and NA talks
Yeah.
so far, and now we're top of the pile a little bit. I guess I'm most surprised by the Man City pick here, to be honest. So Mel, talk to me
Mm.
about what you got with Man City being here.
Man City, you say top 20 teams in the world. I did my best on that. I think Man City is in. Stop it! What are you meowing at? The bomber clat Casper in the wall or something? Is a ghost over there? Bomber clat. Be quiet. Relax yourself. This cat's been meowing for 3 hours straight. Anyways, it's I think with me, Man City is they're in the top 20. They're not in the top 15. I don't. They've shown okay. They've shown quality, real quality, in one regional, and that was the regional they made kickoff LAN. Um, and then they got reverse swept. I feel like they have got some quality wins. These are teams like based off of their performances last year and their uprising, their upbringing, or whatever. Like this is a team that should be getting these top tier wins. The problem is they're not able to raise their level when it matters.
Mhm.
And that is my big problem with a lot of the teams that I'm rating low here is they have no clutch gene where they're not able to raise their level at any point in time. And I think Man City are kind of in that category again. When they needed to make major, when they needed to have a big performance, they couldn't turn it on at the right time. I feel like I would have rated them higher if they were able to push themselves closer, make it a lot more competitive. And yeah, they had a lot of close series, yes, but close series aren't going to win you series. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to game 7 every single time, but you're losing to game 7s, you're still 0 and whatever in game 7. That's the problem. So, or in game 5s. So, they just need to be able whatever happens, whatever they change the structure or whatever, they have the backing from an amazing organization. They've got an amazing coach. I think they have Noah, I think, as the coach, and they have the. Do y'all hear this cat, yo? Oh my god, they have the ability to get far. So I think next split they'll be able to go far, but not right now.
All right. All right. While Mel takes care of his cat,
Mm.
Bob, talk to me about R8. Hop in the pond a little bit. You've
Okay,
got
okay.
our first MENA appearance here on this list.
Yeah, I think MENA right now looks the best it's ever looked. Especially, I mean, obviously we got obvious top two teams right there with Falcons, Swiss, and Mines. And when you have two teams that are that good, I feel like any other team that gets to even just practice, gets to play against these teams, will elevate their game so much as time has gone on. And I feel like there's a couple of these teams that are in that like that third, fourth, fifth position in MENA right now, which in the past, they're not getting as much quality practice because like usually the second MENA team might not be the greatest in the world. But now with how world class both those teams are, I think these teams are getting so much practice, and they might not be taking series necessarily off of the top two teams, but they're getting games off these. They're making the finals. Already did just make the last final, I believe.
Hmm.
They're looking pretty good. I think Muhammad, I believe his name is, 16-year-old kid right there. I think he's from. Is he from Kuwait. Wait, which country is he from? He's
I
like,
feel like that sounds correct. It's
I
not
think he's
Saudi
from.
Arabia from what I remember.
Yeah, he is from Kuwait.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But it's pretty cool to see like a different country outside of Saudi Arabia making it, into like the finals right there, making waves in MENA. And like he's been very cracked. I've been watching his gameplay, looking like one of the next best players
He
right
can
there in MENA.
shoot the ball. It's
And so
crazy.
I'm excited for the squad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I like this team a lot. I think as time goes on, especially when they're getting practice against, Falcons with Sid Mines, they're just gonna get better and better. It's like when, these SAM players get to play on NA servers, when MENA players get to play on EU servers, they get to compete against these top level players, they're just gonna improve. So as time goes on, this team's gonna improve as well.
Yeah. All right. Um, I'm not gonna follow up too much on either of these teams. I've got thoughts on them later. That shouldn't be too much of a surprise. I had both of them ranked last time we did this. I've got Team Secret here at 18. They technically have no movement for me here. I think they were here last time, and this is a weird team, just because I still don't understand how they beat Furia in Open 2. But other than that, they've done exactly. I can't even say exactly what's expected of them, because they also have lost to MIBR every single time, which was not what I expected of them heading into the split. But it's already rumored that KV1 is out. They're looking at trying out a couple new players in his place. So that's going to be a
Oh
change
yeah.
for the next split. For this rankings, we're not accounting for roster changes just yet. This is me power ranking the team with KV1 on it. But yeah, they fell flat again in Open 3. I don't know what more you would expect at this point, and clearly something had to change, but I was not comfortable jumping too many teams above them just yet. So, got Team Secret here.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Let me get back to the correct tab. Number 17. We got DOS, Food Esports, and Dignitas. I know we talked a little bit about Dignitas so far, Mel, so I'm going to go back and start with you again. You've got Dig over M80 still. You've got them as, I don't know if you have Gen G on this list, truthfully, but you've got them as either the fifth or sixth team in North America. Talk to me about these guys. Or maybe, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Dignitas is really good. I think they have shown a lot. And I think they have shown. I think one thing that they M80 hasn't completely done, although M80 swept Dignitas. M80 beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. Let me get that out the way. M80 beat the teams they're supposed
Hmm.
to beat. Okay, Dignitas will go band for band with the rank B team, and then we'll go to Game 7 with NRG. Like that is just the Dignitas flair. But Dignitas will grind themselves. They will push themselves to spots where they're able to consistently compete at their top level. And their top level is beating the top teams in North America, which I don't think M80 has been able to unlock yet, excuse me. Which is why I have them over M80. But not by much. And I guarantee you it's not by much. Very, very short margin.
Yeah.
Very short margin. If I have them, honestly, if I have them in a head to head, I have M80 winning. It's just about the level of consistency, the level of performance, and also their current highest level compared to M80's. And I do think they have a much higher floor than M80 do as well. M80, although Dignitas will still go band for band with a rank B plus team, they won't lose to the rank B plus team. M80 could lose to the rank B plus team. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, I don't want to see M80 go out on the Swiss stage and be like, oh, they're number 5 in A. No, and no, to answer your question, I do not have Genji on this
Okay.
list
Okay.
at all.
All right. I realized I asked about Gen G. There's still a chance you have Food Esports on here too, so they probably end up either fifth or sixth, anyways. Um, but I'm also very curious, Bop. You've got your second Middle Eastern team on here, DOS, and I think if I'm remembering correctly, you had them on your list last week as well.
Yeah, I didn't actually raise them up a little bit,
Okay.
despite the fact they didn't. I feel like they performed around the same. They made back-to-back top fours right here. I think the first split it was they didn't have Suspect on their team. They picked up Suspect in the second regional and the third regional, made back top fours like I said.
Mhm.
I think it's honestly a good pick. Suspect has been in the scene for a while, a very consistent player in the MENA. Never really was at that like number one, number two level on a MENA team, but he's always been very consistent. And I feel like that was a great pick for Dr. No in ops because like sometimes when you have like a lot of young players you need someone there to bring you some consistency. So I like that pick out of them, and they looked very good. Didn't make a final, but I think this is a squad that could contend for lands. It is obviously really tough with Twisted Minds and Falcons being so dominant. But like I said before, they're playing against these teams, they're improving. I think MENA, like if in a world where they had like 3 or 4 spots at a land, like I think both of these teams, DOS and R8, could make like a top 8. So it'll be fun to see if they can make it to Worlds. Maybe they get an extra spot there. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for these teams, the future. I put these teams here because I think like as time goes on, we're gonna hear these names a lot more. Especially on like RA, you got Abdullah on there, Ghazi as well. These are all players that we're gonna hear about more and more. Especially if like Monkey Moon, if he decides he doesn't want to stay in MENA for a while, certain things might happen, certain shakeups are gonna happen there. So we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. All right. All right. Foodie sports for me. I I think I said this last week. I didn't want to be too harsh on them last week, especially considering I was interviewing one of the players on this team. But they feel very steady, like they are going to beat the teams below them and they are going to lose to the teams above them. When they line up against what is it? I think they got eliminated by Shopify when all was said and done. But it's like when they line up against Shopify Rebellion in that top 6 matchup, it's like I know who's winning the series, you know? But it's also like when they line up against Gen G even, and when they line up against I'd M80 would be a toss up, honestly, but like they line up against Unreal Nightmare, against Gen G, against anybody that they should be beating. It's like, yeah, they're winning that. It's going to be comfortable as well. So that gets them to 17 on my list. I'd love to see them swing up once in a while. I just don't feel like they have it in them just yet. I'm curious if they get shaken up a little bit in the NA roster shuffle that I'm assuming is probably going to happen below the LAN teams. But for now, they just kind of sit comfortably here. And with this 17 through 20 range, there's not all that much to talk about. It gets interesting as we get higher up into the rankings and I get a bit more movement. But honestly, everything's been pretty steady for me so far. So, all right,
Fair. Yeah.
jumping into number 16. You got foot, so I'll go ahead, Bob. I'll let you continue thoughts on this team.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say the same exact thing as you, where it's like this is the kind of squad where it's like you always expect them to beat the teams that are below them. Like I feel like they're almost never gonna lose. I feel like they have a decently high floor right there, but I don't think their ceiling is that high. I think Frosty's been playing amazing. I really like Frosty on the squad. I think again Frosty, we've seen a lot from him in the past. Think back to the Snowman. You think back to now complexity, everything that went on there. And this is a great player. I think he's actually been improving. And I do like the squad a lot with Sosa and Shees. I think very solid duo right there. It is a good team, but I just don't think they have that it factor yet to really beat these top teams. Again, if they're playing a Shopify, if they're playing NRG, I will never expect them to beat them, at least right now. I think they can improve on that. I think they're going to work on that during the couple weeks that they have off here. And I think they'll be even back and better next split. But for now, it's like, yeah, I don't ever expect them to beat these top teams. They just need to show a little bit more. They need to show a little bit more.
Yeah. All right. Mel, highest Apex team we've seen in a minute. Project De La Cruz. Talk to me about these guys. What are you expecting out of them come this major?
Yeah, they're the best APAC team that has ever assembled, and I'm going to state it, and I'm gonna keep it like that. I think this is the best roster that APAC has ever brought to an international stage, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't really think it's that close. If y'all thought, well, I mean, the roster from last year wasn't even an APAC roster; that was just three random regions. I'm not gonna lie. This is an APAC roster, and this is a roster that can surprise people. They're in a very odd group to get out of. They're in a group right now with General Mates, Shopify, MIBR, and Dela Cruz. So they have to be either. I mean, I think they could beat MIBR.
Mhm.
I think they could sweep MIBR. The MIBR are an amazing team. But beating Shopify or General Mates, that's a little hard to do. But if they can somehow do that, that'll be a statement win for the region, and I think they'll be able to be obviously considered the best APAC roster ever assembled, like I am claiming that they are. If you guys see how these guys play in regionals, they basically don't even try,
Yeah.
and they go 18-0 in games in regionals, They halfway trolled a grand final, went to game 7 and smacked Kino Trope. Like
Mhm.
it like I'm telling you, this is not this is a team that is the best in the region. It's not for discussion. There still hasn't been a team to take a series off of Dela Cruz yet. And there still is not going to be competition to take them out. And I think the funny thing about this team is you don't even see how the real Dela Cruz plays. They have an online play style and they have an international play style that makes them look so incredibly good.
All right. All right. Yeah. I mean, I remember I tuned in for a couple games of that grand final. I caught it live. But I had to end up
Mhm.
leaving early that Sunday morning. I watched games 3, 4, and 5. And those were the games, all three of the games that Kinotrope won in that final. Was one of the games where Sphinx hit that ridiculous, like they're calling it the Sphinx Mr. Physics shot version. Um, but when I turn that series off, it's 3-2 in favor of Kinotrope. And I still have no doubt in my mind. It's like, all right, they're going to stop trolling and come back and win this. Right. And then when I check it afterwards, when I get the chance, it's like, yep, nope, they won in game 7. Of course they won in game 7. Why would they not win in
Yeah.
game 7? These guys are inevitable. Like it's not been close. And even when it is close, it doesn't necessarily even feel close. It feels like, all right, well, we're just having some fun with it and, giving ourselves a little bit of pressure so we know what it's like when we get to the international stage. So,
And I'll tell you, this is what Trill calls the troll meta, or not the troll meta. It's a have fun meta. It is when you see this team. If you go back and you look at the replay, every 5 seconds, one of them is pre-jumping and they're trying to snipe each other for clips.
mhm,
That is a have fun meta. They lose games that way. They win most of their games that way. That's not an actual play style. They're not going to do that at the line.
yeah,
They have a completely different play style for that. The reason they go to game 7 with Ganatro is that's the only close series I've ever had this entire split is because they were pre-jumping every 5 seconds, and when you pre-jump too much, you send out of players out. You're probably gonna lose a 1v3 to Cash, okay, to max
yep,
you, or to somebody. That is just how Rocket League works. You're gonna lose a 1v3 most of the time, and in the case that they don't, they came back and they won, and that's just the Project Dela Cruz format for you.
yeah, absolutely. Speaking of the teams in their group, though, I got MIBR at 16, and yeah, I mean, I do agree that this is a team that Project De La Cruz could beat in that group. They did end up taking them down at Worlds, but since then, I think MIBR has looked on better form, and I'm not quite ready to. I
Oh
feel like I
yeah.
have to see it on land to be like, yeah, this team is better than the iteration that they had with Sosa. Um, that being said, it's like if this was the Paris major, I think one of the matches I'm really excited to watch is Dela Cruz versus MIBR because that is for getting out of the groups. Unfortunately, I fear with Shopify and Gentlemates in that group that it might end up being a moot point when all is said is done, and these guys might not have a chance to make it out of their group. But if it was like you can make it out of the third spot, I'd be hyped for that matchup. But speaking of MIBR a little bit, they don't end up taking this most recent regional, but they do still have the first regional win under their belt. Um, and they're continually beating Secret. Like I don't know. They're doing what's expected
Yeah,
of them.
everyone's beating
So
that team. That poor Secret, bro. Goodness, man, they take a beat from everybody.
yep. Unfortunately, Amethyst is not beating that team, which still kind of pains me. But MIBR at least is, and they're doing it comfortably every single time. So, yep, they make it in at number 16. I'm not expecting them to make it out of their group, but I think if we are to see something interesting out of that group D, I believe it is, it's going to come off the backs of a bunch of teams going 1 and 2. So it'll be most likely Project De La Cruz beating MIBR and then MIBR locking the F in and then upsetting Rebellion or Gentlemates just because they're having a really good day and the other team is having a really bad day. So that's how I could see Group D getting interesting. Um, but honestly, I would still expect. I've got these guys at
The comms,
16s.
actually.
I'll expect them to beat Project De La Cruz. I think it'll be close. Um, but I've got them at 16 for now. So,
Mhm.
all right, falling to number 15. We got another MIBR. Bob, we got some good lists. We're not as in
Mhm.
tune with each other as we were that one time where we matched 1 through 20, which I still cannot believe happened.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know the odds of that, but yeah.
but talk to me about MIBR at 15 for you.
What?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, again, you kind of said it already. Whereas, like, I feel like Sam right now looks a bit weaker than they have in the past. I feel like there's been times where you had Fury and another team where it's like two really good Sam teams. I thought like, oh, both of these teams could make like a top 6 easily at a LAN. Whereas right now, I think both MIBR, if you include Secret in there as well, Furia, I feel like all three of them, like they look that they're competitive with each other. But I just don't feel like they're reaching that top level right now. I feel like MENA kind of took over definitely as that third best region, and like Sam kind of fell off a little bit. I don't expect the Sam team to do that well this lane. I think it may be Furia if they make a top eight, okay. But I just don't really see that much out of this team right here, especially in their group right there. I think they'll beat Project De La Cruz. You know, I'll say it right now. I don't have Project De La Cruz on my list. The reason why I don't have them on my list is because I fear that, like, you know, despite them dominating their region, I feel like they don't have as much competition that they're playing against, and I feel like they're not going to be able to play that well at the LAN. I know they have a different play style and everything, like Mel you said, but I just feel like they're gonna get a little bit shocked at LAN and like they're just not gonna be able to show what they could. I think they have a lot of potential. I think Sphinx is an amazing player, but I think they're not gonna do that well. But I think MIBR as well. We'll see. You know, maybe they do beat a Gentlemates, maybe they do beat a Shopify, but realistically, I don't have them being out of the group. I don't see Sam doing that well this LAN overall.
All right. All right. We've had both me and Bob so far talk about food esports here. Mel, you got them the highest out of us, and you're yeah. Go ahead, close our thoughts on food esports.
I don't even want to talk about foot. I'm not gonna hold you, twin. I couldn't be bothered with that roster, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I think like they're good. What I think maybe it was Bop that said they just don't have a high ceiling, and um, they'll beat the teams that they are supposed to beat. And they, when it comes time to play the energies of the region, they get demolished. And then it's just like, why did anyone ever put hope? You know what I'm saying? And I think the teams that are listed above them are very clearly better than them in NA, the top four teams: Energy, Redacted, Shopify, and SSG. I think they're all better than them, and I think Foot are good. I think Foot are good enough to maybe sneak into a top four if one of those teams ends up having a bad second split, but I just don't see it. But they're good enough to they're I don't think they're better than any of the four in NA, but I think they're good enough to compete with these other teams internationally. So that's why I have them at 15.
All right. I low key. I mean, there's a lot of teams that I hope we get to see internationally out of North America. I think that 5 through 7 range is some of the most exciting it's been. But I'd be curious to see what they could cook up if they had the chance as that fifth seed from our region. Um, And then Man City, I will follow up on them. I know Mel, you talked about how little ice this team has, and yeah, I think it was Dolphin talking in our group chat where it's like these guys just seriously cannot win a single game that matters. They've gone to 7 against just about everybody. I think it was Karmine Corp event 1. It's been Gentlemates as well. They've gone to 7 against Ninjas. Yeah, I think they did, and that might have been event 2. They end up getting revenge for that loss. But they go to 7 and then they lose like every single time. Um, and they make the tiebreaker. They don't win it. They end up losing to GK in 6. For a moment, it looked like they could have, but honestly, I don't think. I mean, I wasn't surprised, and I'm not sure how many people would have been surprised by the fact that GK's experience kind of helped them pull through and take that land spot. It was good for Man City to make it that far, but I just with the pressure's on, they've already shown that they can't necessarily compete at the level that they've shown when the pressure's not on, and the tiebreaker is the definition of pressure. So yeah, tragic that they can't make it. I wouldn't be surprised to see them stick together and try to just clean up their mentality and win an impactful game on Champions Field. But until then, I actually have them dropping just 2 spots. And I think I'm going to carry this into the conversation about 14 because I have Magnifico here. Highest, you guys both had them unranked. I put a little bit of respect on them for their performance in, honestly, the last 2 regionals. I think I had them at like 19 last week, and then I jumped them up to 14 this time. A large part in because they made top 6 again. Last time they made top 6, beating Karmine Corp Ninjas. This time it's taking down Man City. They don't end up winning any of the games at the playoff bracket yet again. But considering I had Man City here, I wanted to bump Magnifico up just because of that head to head. I know that head to head comes off of a game 5-0 second goal that Edgeby absolutely trolled and should not have given the ball away in that position. But I mean, Magnifico has been proving it. They have been beating some of the top teams as well. And yeah, this is even pre-roster change, so I'm curious to see how they do next split. But this team is chomping at the bit to try to take a land spot from anybody who's underperforming. And I think if they had done slightly better in Open One, or if they had won a single playoff series when it mattered, had a slightly better bracket, or kind of like Man City, won a single Game 7, this Magnifico squad would be at the land. So, where to next? Oh, we've got. Let's go with Dignitas next. Let's talk. Let's close out our thoughts on Dignitas. I'm a little bit surprised to see them this high on a list, but I don't think it's unwarranted. Bob, talk to me about them.
Yeah, I gotta say, so before the split started, I had no idea who Boro was. Like, usually I'm pretty tapped into the
I'm
NA bubble.
crying. I'm crying. No, the
Listen,
thing is,
listen.
Bora retired and came back and got the spot. How does that even happen? He was retired for 6 months, comes back, and it tells her, "Oh, I have the Dignitas spot." I can't tell you how mad the bubble C was. It was hilarious. It was hilarious, dude.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all, and then it genuinely cooked. I think it was a great pickup. I think it was a phenomenal pickup. Obviously, they didn't make the land, but it's like he was been playing amazing. I feel like almost nobody knew who this guy was. Usually, I'm tapped into any bubble scene, but I just wasn't really. I didn't tap into him, and then I've seen him play, and I'm like, dang, this kid's actually really
He
good.
can
This kid's
ball.
actually really, really good. And then, yeah, just watching this Dig squad, like their ceiling is insane. I think like on their day they could be anybody, like genuinely anybody. The problem is, Milka mentioned it too. They could like go to Game 7 against a ranked B team. I wouldn't be that surprised. It's just like I probably should have M80 on my list too. I think they're two very similar teams right there. Um, but it's just like I don't think they have like that edge yet. Again, like that one more step to be like consistent. If they were a little more consistent and could just always beat the teams they're supposed to beat, they would easily be at this land. But I think they could get there. I think they could get there. I think a team, with Evo on it is always a little bit tough. He's like a player that's so talented, but again, his floor could be a little bit low. So I'm excited for this team. I think they got a lot of potential. I think we might see them at the next land, honestly. And I think if they make the land, they could like easily beat some
Whoa.
EU teams. But that's if they actually beat the rank B teams. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Yep,
Well, she's shouting them out to go to next land. Over who, Bob?
that's a call. Don't
We'll see. We'll see.
don't say
Oh
it.
my goodness.
Um,
Okay, well maybe.
but yeah, I do want to take a quick sidebar here because just looking at these lists, it's direct contrast to last year when I feel like this, you know, 13 through 20 range was really filled with just all the EU teams that were making lands, and then suddenly it's like we're talking about Foot Esports, we're talking about Dignitas, we're talking about M80, and it's like we're not even talking about Gen G. They've dropped that far in the NA Power rankings. It really feels like the tide has kind of turned. And, what we're seeing out of the teams chomping at the bit in North America isn't just like, oh, they can't do anything. It's, oh, you guys actually have some threat. Like you're taking the top teams to the wire, and it's a new feeling. It's something we haven't felt in a while.
Is that our NA bias? Are we all biased?
I don't think it's NI bias because
I wouldn't even say so. No, I think our depth outside of our top four, we've like I think our 5 to 10 is significantly better than EU's 5 to 10.
we got to have a tournament.
That
It'd be so
and I'll
fun.
stand by that.
It'd be so fun to have a tournament where it's just
That'd be a
I don't even
crazy
care about the
tournament,
top
yeah.
teams. Just get me
Right?
the G League.
Yeah.
Get me 5 through 10. Run them against each
Get
other.
me the G League is
It'd be
crazy.
so fun.
Wait, that's hilarious.
But
Imagine we have a freaking final between we'll have like our top four be like Dignitas, M80. Foot would have lost to like Novo's Afterburner after dropping a chronic in like the first round, and then the other side for the top four would be like freaking I don't even know. It'd be like Manchester City and like PSK. Could you imagine that? That is so random. That
that'd
is
be great.
so incredibly
That'd be
random. It's
cinema.
amazing.
All right. Speaking of a non-North America or European team, but a team that does have a lot of juice, talk to me about this R8 squad.
Oh yeah, no, this R8 squad came out here and wanted to put some BTA on MENA teams. You know what I'm talking about? This team came out, and I have been following MENA, and I've been following the scrims. I've been following everything. I think pretty well. They came out here. Who's it? Abdullah, Ghazi, and M7MD. They first of all, that brother is
Oh,
nasty.
he's cold.
But those teams, that team came out here and just started whooping people's behinds. And then what they did, they made a top 4 or top 8 in the regional. I mean, top 4,
I
top
mean,
2 in the
they
regional
made
Most.
top two, I
result. I
think,
think they
right,
got
in
top
the
2,
finals.
Mhm,
and they lost in like game 6 to Falcons.
mhm.
And just the way that they're getting there, the way that they're getting these results, it is very like there's a lot of intent. It's very they've got I don't know what the right word is here. They have officially stamped themselves and made me like I think this is a lot more competitive. I think all it is from them is they just need to be able to raise their ability just a little bit. I think they need to raise their floor just a little bit, and they'll be able to take series off of Falcons and or specifically Falcons, because I guess anybody could take games off of Twisted now, but Falcons, because I think that's what it needs. I think Falcons they have been struggling in my opinion since the beginning of the season. I came out and I said, "Hey, Falcons are going to win the Saudi E League, and they're not going to win Regional One because of their inconsistencies, and they have no identity when they play. They have no identity, and that's exactly what happened. And Twisted Minds, I saw they looked so inconsistent getting to the final in the first regional. I'm like, okay, yeah, Twisted is not winning again if they look like this because they look so inconsistent and they didn't win again. They didn't make the grand final. But at the very least, R8's going to make it very competitive. I think going into next split, they could bargain for that second seed if either Falcons or Twisted let down their guard in one regional. And I think they have the ability to pounce on the points if they need to.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I'll go ahead and unveil 13 because I want to continue this conversation just slightly. I've got RA and I'm the odd person out. So we can just go ahead and keep this discussion rolling. Um, yeah, these
Mhm.
guys can ball. I'm still stuck on Mohamed's performance. Is it Mohamed? I think. Yeah, Mohamed's performance.
Yeah, I think Mom.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm stuck on his performance from Open One, where he was like taking it to Twisted Minds. It's like they end up losing. It was that sleeping squad. They end up losing in Game Seven. But I'm like that dude is like really trying to get them over the finish line. And then he joins two relatively more known quantities in Abdullah and Ghazi. Both had pretty solid Worlds play-ins performances. The World Championship part of it didn't actually go super well, but they lose to Furia and Dignitas, which are like two pretty solid teams all things considered. But yeah, once I saw that link up was happening, I'm like, all right, this team is threatening. This team is exciting. I had them at 14 last week, which was I think highest out of anybody, and might have been jumping the gun, but it actually turns out pretty well because they take down Twisted Minds in the upper AFL. They get the job done. They made the final this time. I think it was I had when I had Dolphin and Myth on. Dolphin was like, yeah, these guys are good, but it's like you got to make a final for me to rank you, and they went out and they made a final just about instantly. So props to R8. I'm excited for them. And in terms of what happened last year, I know it was like that rock squad with Abdullah and Ghazi. They had Twiz still at the time, but they end up taking down Twisted Minds in that reverse sweep in Open 5. But in Open 4 and 6, they did not make the playoffs, which showed how
Mhm.
inconsistent they were. They had such a low floor, but such a high ceiling. I'm starting to wonder if that low floor might be gone and they might just be high ceiling now.
Mhm.
And if that's the case, then I do agree, Mel, with you that they could, they catch Twisted Minds sleeping on the wrong day. They're coming for a major spot. And if they keep this up, I'm not as tuned into DOS. They could get the job done. But I think at least for me, these guys are far and away favorites for the LCQ right now. And I'd be curious to see if they can get that done. And if they do get that done, what they're going to do to some teams in that play in because they're making it out of that play in style if they make it. So let's talk about GK
Good comms.
Esports.
Ooh, cat.
You got it up.
Mel's cat wants to talk about GK
Geek.
Esports, but we'll start with Bob.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Geek is a very interesting team. Where it's like, you know, Open 2, I felt like Geek, I had them pretty high up. I think I had them at like eighth or ninth. I think
Mhm.
like eighth, I want to say. And I was like, dang, this is actually a very good squad. Like, I wasn't suspecting them to get that high because, like, it is Joyo and Shaq, Seiko. you don't have anyone new on that team. Usually nowadays in Rocket League, you need like at least like one new player, one little bit younger player on the squad to kind of like pop off a little bit. Get everybody feeling a little bit better. But we got three veterans right here, three land champions right here, world champion. It's a great squad. And like Open 2, they looked really good. And then Open 3, it's like, It's like who they lose to right here. Like they ended up losing to Vitality in Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
And they also lost to NIP.
In
Got swept by them. And I was just not very impressed, so I did just drop them down. Like I don't have much good to say about them because I was pretty high on them in Open 2. And then they just fell off. So it's like 13. It feels like that kind of in between spot where it's like, okay, they snuck into the land. They obviously beat Man City. Well played at them. They won when they needed to. I respect that. But I feel like they should be looking a little better with if they replicate the Open 2 performance. I think this should be a team that makes like a top 8, top 6 at the land. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm very like huge question marks on this team. I could see this team easily in my top 8. I could see them like 18, 19. It's just like I don't really know what to think about this team. I just don't know.
I think the thing with Geekay is that their level can be so. This is just this freaking organization, man. Not forget that. It's Joyo. It's just freaking Joyo. Like, what is it with him making these random grand finals and sneaking his way into majors? Like, I'm telling you, it's aura. I don't know what else, because it doesn't make sense. They look like absolutely dookie booty, and they come around and they make the freaking major. What? Hello? They didn't make top 8 in regional bomba clot one. You know what I'm talking about? They didn't make the top 8. Like, they went out 16th. Like, and then they make the major? Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Yo, that team is just the most random thing to ever touch the freaking planet, and I love it. That makes it so hard for my predictions because I know I'm going to get it wrong regardless. So, 13th is a safe place to put them. Don't be surprised when they come out of Boston as number 1 or out of my top 20. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy, dude. I'm telling you. Ridiculous.
Yep. Unfortunately, I'm not following up on the Geeky point just yet. But let's unveil number 12. Furia, NIP, and MIBR. I kind of want to stick in Europe before we go over to South America. So, Bob, talk to me briefly about this NIP squad. You got them one
12?
spot. You got them one spot.
At 12, Bob? Oh, Lord have mercy.
Got them at 12 right here. I mean, this is a great squad. Don't get me wrong. A lot of talent on this team. I just don't see it at this land. I don't see it. I think they could bring it back later. I think right now, this is not their land. I think right now, they're not at their peak. I saw them they got 4-1 by Man City, I think, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't look that good, in my opinion. I feel like they kind of got destroyed that series. I feel like when they're not playing well, they just get destroyed by anybody. And again, they have a high ceiling. They really do. And I think they could beat the top teams when they really want to. But I just don't see the consistency out of them. I don't see. It's kind of like, in a way, not similar to GK, because I do have more faith in them than GK to do well. I think they have a higher ceiling than GK. I think they are a better team than GK. But I feel like these couple of teams right here are actually just very close in EU. Your Man City, your NIP, your GK. Even these squads that are like right next to their like Magnifico. I think all these teams could take series off of each other. But NIP, I just don't see it. I don't see the vision. I don't think they're going to do it this land. And I don't know if they will do it ever.
Wow.
Ever?
That's hard.
Ever.
You know what? We're done with you now. Because that's crazy. At number 12? All right. You know what? Before I go, I want to hear why Fury Esports is so low on the list at number 12. Yo, bro,
I do have Fury the lowest.
My ball knowers? What is this freaking list?
Dude, there's a lot of good teams at this land. There's a lot of good teams. And unfortunately, I just don't think Sam is sending one of them.
That's not what I asked you, bro.
I don't think Sam is sending one of the teams.
There's a lot of good teams. You have Fury at 12?
Yeah, I do.
What?
I do.
Wow.
I don't know. Like, the loss to Secret still baffles me. it just still is so confusing. They have shakily won multiple. I think this last regional, to be fair to them, they did a lot better. They did clean it up. They do win with a bit more comfort. But it's like Open 1 was very shaky. Open 2, what are you doing? Open 3, okay, right? But they're in a bad group. They had a very bad end of the season last year. They bring in Swift, who I think is an upgrade, but at the end of the day, I don't see it. I'm not inspired. I'm not confident. Like I think there's a lot of teams, and maybe they're just suffering for the fact that they're in a region that doesn't have as much competition, and so you can't really swing up. You're expected to dominate, and when you don't, it hurts against you. But it's like all the teams above them have taken pretty solid wins at some point this split. And it's like Furia's best win is MIBR, and because it kind of has to be, but it's just it doesn't feel like there's competition for them to actually be beating that I'm confident in. I I don't want to use the group as an excuse for why they're going to be low, but I think it's going to come out looking pretty justified after they go out either last or 1 and 2 in their group. But yeah, I haven't had confidence in South America
Yeah,
all season.
Group B and C. What the hell are we doing with those group blasts? Like, who put these freaking groups together?
I don't want to talk
Like,
about Group C.
the hell?
Uh,
Crazy.
but
Oh yeah,
MIBR,
Martian, good luck with that, man.
yeah, Mel, you got MIBR here at 12 instead. So I'm guessing not your highest South American team because you just ragged on me for having Furia this low. So talk to me about them being this
I
high.
would hope not. You know what I'm saying? MIBR at 12 might be a little bit woo woo, but at least it's not as bad as putting Furia at 12. I think that's woo woo. I'll tell you something about this team, though. I'll tell you something about this team, okay? MIBR, I think, at their peak, are going to be able to compete with every team that's above them. I think their their level when they're playing normally is better than Geek's. And of course, in South America, you play the game. Everything it's so different, and because they like to play so fast and they like to play so mechanical, people just keep whiffing them all willy nilly. And the one team that doesn't do that is MIBR. Okay, MIBR just doesn't do a freaking cycle into their own net like I seen someone else do, and I'm like, what is going on down there? But like you know, MIBR just have a level of consistency. I think MIBR are like with their level, I think they're consistent. I think MIBR are consistent, and they're more consistent than Geek by a long shot because Geek is all over the place. And I do think that their current level is better than Geek's current level. Well, yeah, I'll go with that. I'll go with that. Their current level is better than Geek's current level. If they're going to be able to get out of their group, no, well, they're probably not. But if they're going to be able to get out of their group, it's because their ceiling is so high, or because their level doesn't fluctuate. Gentleman's levels fluctuates. Gentleman's level fluctuates a lot. And if at LAN, Nas is feeling uncomfortable, RT is feeling uncomfortable, Oski is own goaling again, okay? Um, MIBR will take advantage and they're going to stay composed. They're a team that even if they drop their level, they're very vocal, they get very loud, they motivate themselves, they pick themselves up. And I think they'll do exactly that. I think they're going to find ways to win series in Boston.
All right. All right. I'd be curious to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Number 11. I'm seeing your guys' list. I feel like I might be missing someone, but I'm not sure. GK Man City in Team Vitality. Okay, we got to talk about the Man City this high. Bop.
Okay, Man City right here. They were robbed, man. They were robbed of the land.
No. No.
No.
Martian. This guy Bop when you were gone said, "Oh, it's all gonna make sense." The guy you're talking about is gonna make sense. I knew it was gonna be some uncomprehendable freaking pick. I knew it was gonna be some nonsense up there. Oh my god. Nah, this I got it. This is rage bait. This is money 1, 2, 3. This is money go. This is rage bait right here. This is freaking rage.
Listen. Man City, right? Man City, they're a better team than NIP. Better team than Geeky. I don't care that they lost to Geeky. I don't care that they've lost to NIP throughout the season.
They did beat him most recently.
Made the land.
Yeah.
He made the land. It's true. 4-1. Destroyed NIP, by the way. Destroyed them. But point is, right? Man City, if they can ice up just a little bit, win a game 7, win an overtime, they're like second or third team at this land, best team at this land, like out of EU. If they made this land, I think they beat like any NA team besides NRG. Whereas NIP GK, I don't see them
They
beating
got
any
reverse
team.
swept by Novo at the kickoff line. What do you mean they can beat any? They lost to Achronic. They lost. They got
Listen.
reverse swept by
Achronic
Achronic.
was peaking. Achronic was peaking in that series. Okay,
And Achronic got
it's
kicked.
different. I don't know what's happening with Novo, but listen, Man City Edge B right here. I think one of the best players EU right now in the region right now. I think he's been improving like crazy. Great player. Acro especially. Okay, Acro probably maybe their best player. Looking amazing. Looking amazing. Tempo though. Can't even talk about tempo right there. Phenomenal squad right here. I think again, if they were at this land, I got them making top 6, maybe a top 4, maybe a top 4 on their day. I think, like I said, I think they beat a Redacted. I think they beat a Shopify. I think they beat an SSG if they can ice up just a little bit. You know, just a little bit of ice, in there. They're being the best teams in the world easily. I think MFPK.
So theorizing is good enough to put them in the top 50,
Yes.
in the top.
Mel, you follow college football, right? At least a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you seen that graphic where it's the SpongeBob and like Patrick dunking, and it's like it's used whenever someone tries to say that like Vanderbilt would beat Illinois by 70 points. It's like another hypothetical win for the SEC.
By 7.
This is another hypothetical win for EU
Yo,
RLCS. If
this-
Bob thinks they're making top
Oh
4
my-
on major.
Bro, why are we giving them more credit than we need to? This is Glaze, bro. I swear this guy must be best friends with Temple or something, bro. This is freaking Glaze. Like what?
Listen, they lost 3
Crazy.
overtimes to GK, I think, in that final series to make them land. Like, if they just won one of those, 2 of those,
I
they make
mean,
the
they
land.
still lost, didn't they?
Yeah, but they went to Game 7 against KC, Game 7 against Genomates, 2 best teams in the region right there. If they just win one more game right there, hey, yo, they could be number 1 EU for all I know.
You
Like,
know who also beat Casey? Actually beat them? Resi, Smokes, and Toxic.
hey, yo, that's the second best team in
Unironically.
EU right there. That's fair. That's fair.
The classes are gone. All right, so Bob's got Bob's
You
got
know
Man City
what?
at 10.
You know what, dude? You know what?
It's only 4 spots higher than Marshall. It's not bad.
I'm the crazy one, right? No, see, okay. I'm gonna say about 15 words. Vitality are good. Every team that is ranked above them in my list is better than them. Point blank over the team. Like they're just scamming their way into majors now. I'm freaking
All right, we've had some harsh words said about
watching all
Vitality.
you, bro.
Yeah, we've had some harsh words said about Vitality on this channel before. We are not the most inspired crew. But yeah, I guess
They could win the major. I wouldn't be surprised because they're good and they've been good looking good in the scrims so far. But how they keep making top 4s is a foreign concept to me. So,
all right, I'll close our thoughts on Geek Esports. I've got them 2 spots higher than you guys. They obviously take the tiebreaker and make the major over Man City. Oh, I just realized we were at 11 and not 10. For some reason, I thought that was Man City in the top 10. But yeah, I mean, this team, I still don't know how they made a finals, but I still have to respect it. They take some quality wins along the way. As Mel was mentioning, it's just Joyo doing Joyo things and just making a random final. But yeah, they make the major. They're in a group that I have no confidence in them in. They either beat or they lose to Furia, and that probably impacts who I have higher. But until I see that matchup, I'm going to trust the fact that GK can beat teams above them. And I don't know if Furia can right now, truthfully. So yeah, GK at 11. I don't have much more to add on top of what you guys have already said. I think these guys are in the most danger of getting their spot stolen for the second split if they don't get it together. So
By Man City.
by 18, potentially Man City. Number 10.
Furia at 10 is better than having Furia at 12. I'm just saying.
How much better is it than having Furia at 12? Bob, talk to me about Furia.
They're in the top 10.
It's about 2 spots better in my opinion.
Okay.
I think it's a pretty good pick in top 10. I think I said this before with the MIBR. I think Sam's overall not impressing me right now. Furia, honestly, the reason why I had them in the top 10 because I dropped some other teams out of here. I had NIP above them before. I had DK above them, and I dropped them down a little bit. Or I put Furia up now. I'm just not impressed. I'm just not impressed. I feel like, it's competitive in Sam, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think they're gonna do it on international stage right now. I feel like there's something missing. I don't know what it is. I really don't know. I just don't think they're gonna do that well. Their group right now, they got Redacted, EK, and Falcons. I would be surprised if they make it out of that group. I would be surprised. I feel like Falcons, Redacted, even EK, all of them could beat them. It's gonna be tough. I don't think we see a Sam team make top 8 this LAN.
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, we didn't at the last lane, so I think it's a fair position to take. And with that group
Mhm.
especially, yeah. But you got him in this top 10. Let's.
Hmm.
I'll close our. Or no, I'm not closing thoughts at all. Um, I'm throwing my phone on the ground apparently. Mel, talk to me about Space Station Gaming. You got them the lowest
What
out
is
of us.
going on over there?
Chaos always.
What you say?
Talk to me about Space Station Gaming. You got them the lowest out of us. Where's the pride? Where's the, you know, where's the NA bias? Come on.
Yeah, the NI bias left when they lost the game 7 to Dignitas.
That's
Sorry about
that's
that,
too soon.
but
That's
I'm sorry. Um, I don't know. It just feels like every time they play NRG, every time they play Shopify. No, they beat Shopify recently.
Mhm.
When they play NRG, it just feels like they get skill diffed. They beat Shopify recently, didn't they? In like
In groups, yeah.
the group
That
stage.
should have been a sweep. No
And
bias. It
CJ
should have.
was just like freaking out.
Yeah.
I I don't know. I just let me look at my list and see who I have above them and try to justify this because like in my head I think this is reasonable.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
not unreasonable.
yeah. I feel like who I have above them is just better
Mhm.
than them. And why does their level go up and down like a seesaw
Yeah, that's fair.
every other game? Like it you want me to trust that on the international stage? Actually, I do a little bit better because Xperia knows how to play international Rocket League. Xperia knows how to get his team to play international Rocket League. He's talked about it with me before. He's talked about it publicly before. He knows how. Yo, this cat's tripping. He knows exactly how to play at the top level in international Rocket League. He knows how to beat every team in the world. Um, it's just going to come down to execution. And Diaz, this will be basically his first time against full international, not just EU, full international competition with two high level teammates. I'm sorry, you're not going to tell me Raise Bull and C.A.R. back then are better than Chronic and Reveal right now. So I think this will be his best chance. So I want to see how he looks. Chronic has some things to prove, dude. I think Reveal is the best on the team for me. I think he's the most consistent. I think Diaz has the highest peak, but I think Reveal is the best right now. Chronic has some things to prove for me. He's been playing really high level Rocket League. He's been playing very consistent, but I think internationally, who I have rated above them is fair. But they could. I don't think I can see them winning Boston. They could, but I'll see how they look on day two. Day one and day two, and then we'll see if they're gonna win Boston or not. I'll make a very bold claim in the venue if they will or won't, but I don't see it right now.
Okay. Okay. I mean, it's not a very bold claim if you say they're not going to win, but they also have to make it to the crowd days, which is going to be very, very difficult. We'll get into that
Oh
in a
yeah, what a group.
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of groups, this is not a good group that Ninjas Pajamas is in, and it's really going to play to their advantage because all like as I was saying earlier, all Power has to do is beat Ninjas Pajamas. All NIP's got to do is beat Power. Like, I mean, sure, you could try to swing up and beat NRG, but at the end of the day, it's like you can let NRG go 3-0. You can let Five
NRG
Fears
just
go
be going to
0-3.
five with everybody though. That's my problem. They just be going to five with
Mhm.
everything and their mom. Like it's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
but like Carmine's doing that too, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's on land. You would trust them to still win it, even if they are. So it's like I am fully expecting NIP versus Power 1-1 day two. Lock it. I don't think we've seen the day two schedule, but we know that that matchup will happen on day 2, and it will be the last one in their group because we're having 2 matches on day 1 for Group A. But
Mm.
it's yeah, I mean, I'm expecting them to meet, and I would expect Ninjas Pajamas to win that. I think they'll be ready. I think if I'm able to piece together the fact that they need to lock in and focus on beating Power, Mel's flying in the background. Um,
Just win.
but if if I'm focusing on the fact that they need to beat Power, I'm sure they are very much game planning for that, and they should be able to get it done. They've been questionable and many times, but they've also won a lot of best of threes. Not best of threes, sorry, best of fives. They take down Kike in best of fives every single time. They lose to Magnifico, but apparently Magnifico was just the best team in the world that day. So yeah, I'm not too worried about them getting out of their group, and I think that's going to bode well for them. But other than that, it's like, especially with what we saw out of them in Regional 3, I wasn't the most inspired, and I think that's fair. And so I think I have them dropping technically. I had them moving up one. Right, I have them trading places with Kike because Open 2 was even less inspiring than Open 3. But they at least take that Kike win this time. So, yep, slots them in at number 10 for me.
Okay. Mel, did you turn to your cat for a second? What happened there?
Huh?
Did you turn
Oh
to your cat?
no. No, bro. Dude, I'm not. I'm in another world right now, bro. I'm not gonna hold you, bro.
All right.
Okay.
I'm flying. My cat drew me, bro.
Number
Fair.
9. Vitality Space Station Ninjas in Pajamas. Okay. Where do we
Okay, well,
start?
I feel like that's just all
Start.
the same thing.
We start with Ninjas in Pajamas again. Mel, talk to me about your team here.
They're good. I their peak is winning a regional,
hmm
and their floor is getting swept by a redacted.
That's not a bad
So
floor to have, though.
I that's
You,
not about they don't really have a low floor to me. Like they're consistent enough. They're like to me how Geek was last year, where Geek beat every single team that they were supposed to beat, but like low key struggled against the teams their level or above. NIP don't necessarily struggle against the teams that are like at their level or above because they are able to beat them actively a lot more than Geek did last year when I was with Geek. Um, so I think NIP here are good. I do think that they're going to have a better consistency internationally than Space Station will. People always talk about NIP as this like inconsistent wild card X factor. I don't see them like that. I do think that they're a very consistent team. They've got a very specific way of playing Rocket League that is like if you have it fully prepped, yeah, sure you could probably beat them, but they are able to raise their level. And not to mention at any point in time, I think Oli has been playing so good. So I think he's going to definitely be one of the players to make this team shine should they do well in Boston.
all right. All right. I'll stick in Europe for us. I'll talk about Team Vitality. Mel's already went in on them in his 15 words. Last week we had Pyro and Geo going in on this team. Nobody seems to be inspired out of our group by this Vitality squad, and I think with a player like Zen, it's kind of surprising to be saying that. But if you watch what they're putting on the pitch, it's also not very surprising that we're saying that. This is a team that I mean, they're in a very difficult group with SSG, Twisted Minds, and KC. I could see them going 0-3. And I think that's crazy to say about a team with Zen on their roster at a LAN, but it's like they could go 0-3. They've already lost to Space Station this season. They've lost to Karmine Corp since Farah left. And I mean, Twisted Minds is they've got question marks about them, but it's still Twisted Minds and they're still balling. They've still got Nobu. I could definitely see them taking that match. So this is a very like this is the team that could get exposed the most in this group of death, I think. But they also, because of that, have a little bit to prove. And if they come out and they come out swinging, they make it out, like good for them. But I'm staring at an automatic loss and two teams that I think are going
Carmine
to
Corp
struggle
are
with.
not making it out of that group. Mark my words, bro.
I
Carmine Corp are gonna lose to freaking Twisted Minds and Vitality, and it's gonna be like Vitality and Twisted or like Vitality and Space Station that make it out that group, and
That'd
I'm
be
gonna laugh
cinema.
so freaking hard. I'm gonna troll all the KC fans that have been trying to torment me the past 2 years. It's
Dude,
hilarious.
I could see best case scenario is Vitality 0-3 and then a 2-1 tiebreaker that KC loses. And so both of you teams go out. Imagine.
Oh, that'd be
That would
hilarious.
be
Would be
incredible.
insane.
I can't say that without getting memed on though. I already know the comments are flooding, telling me to piss off. But
Yeah.
yeah, this Vitality squad, I think they have the lowest chance of getting out of that group because they're the ones. I mean, you could probably look at Space Station and be like, yeah, I seriously doubt they're going to be able to beat Karmine Corp, and I think that's a fair take to have. But it's like with Vitality, I just know that that's an automatic loss. They're not beating Carmine Corp until I see it. Like, I unironically think the first time that they're going to beat Carmine Corp is in like a World semifinals or quarterfinals when it's up against Vatira, and it's eliminating Vatira from winning
Mhm.
Worlds. Like,
Yeah,
that's the
it's
only
gonna
time
be
I can see
something
it happening.
stupid like that
Yeah,
too.
but they're gonna lose until
Mhm.
then,
Yeah,
every single time, and so I ain't
Oh.
predicting
because
them winning this
Karmine
time.
Corp at Worlds is just chokers.
Yep.
Just saying.
So, um, last team for number 9, Bob, talk to me about
Mhm.
SSG here.
SSG is kind of an interesting team right now in NA, where it's like I feel like they are probably the fourth best team in NA right now. Where it's just not necessarily what I expected. I think Redacted kind of showed up a little bit better than most people thought going into the split right here. But they're a pretty consistent team. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They made this LAN. I don't think they'll do anything crazy at LAN, but they're consistent. They're decent. Chronic actually, I think this last regional he went for an aerial. That was impressive. I was very impressed by that right there. Uh,
I'm freaking crying.
nah.
I'm
I
crying.
think Chronic actually gets away with too much hate. I think like the Reddles memes and everything is kind of funny, but I think he's actually a lot better than what people have
Oh
been
yeah.
saying. I love Diaz. I'm repping the complexity shirt right here. I think Reveal is looking amazing, probably the best player on the team right there. I think they have a shot to beat certain teams. I don't think they're gonna win this LAN. I don't think they have much of a shot to win this event, but they're there. I think they're a good, solid NA fourth representative and I think they'll do decent. I think like of course the group horrific, not the group you want to see. If they can make it out of that group, very impressive. If not, that's not too much negative to say about them because it is a tough group. So
Mhm.
we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I feel like SSG could very well just maintain status quo by doing exactly what's expected of them. I'm going to keep talking about them because I got them just one spot above here at number 8. I'm respecting the head-to-head. I didn't respect the head-to-head last week between Space Station and Vitality because Space Station went on and lost to Dignitas twice, but they have since improved their form a little bit in this Open 3. So I do have them, ahead of Vitality because of that. They also take down Shopify Rebellion in groups, which shows that at least in best of threes, or not, I keep saying best of threes because I know you got to win 3 games to win the series. Best of fives, at least in best of fives, they can show up against some of the best teams. And I think that's going to play well for them in groups if they can take advantage of that. They have Vitality first. I think that is a make or break match. If you lose that, it's mental's going to be in the gutter. But if you win that, it's like, all right, all we got to do is beat Twisted Minds or Carmine Corp, and those are some winnable matches on the next day. But I, yeah, I have them above Vitality because I've already beaten them this year. I think I gave this stat when I was like really trying to narrative push, where it's like the combined goal differential. If you take the last two Space Station versus Vitality series, Space Station has a plus 17 goal differential, which is crazy because we lost that series, the one where we had the plus 9 goal differential.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Somehow, some
I'm
freaking
still pissed
way.
about that. But the stat gets even funnier if you realize that if you take the last 3 series between Space Station and Carmine Corp, despite the fact that the last 2 series it's a plus 17 for Space Station, I think it's a plus 5 for Vitality if you take the last 3 series because of how badly they beat us at EWC. So it's a very fun rivalry to say the very least, and I'm excited that we get to see it on day one.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be excited if we lose, but I'm excited that we do get to see it. But yeah, I mean, this team, they've got the potential to big up. If they beat Twisted, awesome. If they beat Carmine Core, we're on top of the world. If we lose Vitality, then we're dropping. They are very clearly North America's 4th seed. I think there was some questions for me where it's like, okay, if they're performing closer to what they did in Open 1, can they beat Redacted? But despite the fact that they did look better in Open 3, that they being Space Station looked better in Open 3, Redacted has continued to look better. So I don't think that the session's there. We haven't seen the matchup just yet, but I've got these guys comfortably as NA4. But as you can see by my list, having a lot of space in between the two red teams, between 4 and 5, they're a comfortable NA4 in both directions. So let's finish our thoughts. Oh, who do we want to finish our thoughts on first? Let's finish our thoughts on Vitality since we're going to stick in the same group. Bob, talk to me about them. You've got them one spot above Space Station.
Yeah. Yeah, the reason why I have them above Space Station is because I feel like Vitality, despite I feel like Space Station maybe being a better team right now, I think Vitality have the chance to actually win this event still because of that Zen factor. I feel like when you have Zen on a team, there's always a small
Yeah.
chance you can still win an event. Whereas SSG, I don't see them winning the event. Unfortunately, I just don't see it. But if you get rid of Zen on that team, like this team might not be top 20. Like I just, they're just not exciting. They're just not that interesting to watch. They shouldn't do that well. There's always a chance they do. Stizzy might pop off. Who knows? Like what's gonna happen? Exotic might show up. But like, realistically, it's like they're just not that balanced. They're just not that consistent. They're never gonna be a KC. I don't think they could be an Energy. I don't think they could be a Falcons Twisted Minds. Really, like maybe an off chance. I just don't see that. I just really don't see that. So not excited for this team. EU maybe a 1-2 team region right now. I don't really know what's going on right there.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. He 1-2 team region. That could age poorly considering what we've seen, but hopefully it ages well. From my
I
very
could.
biased perspective. Mel, you've got Furia here
Mm.
up at 8, which is kind of the highest I think I've seen him most of this year. So talk to me about what's giving you confidence in this team.
Furia are the best team in a region that is, I wouldn't even say like, I'd say the region's competitive enough. I think Furia needs to obtain and sustain a high level to consistently, not even consistently, but be able to beat MIBR. Like people like they live in a secret, they live in MIBR, they live in a Lord knows who. It's not like the region's not competitive. The region is good. It is amazing and talented individual players. And sometimes I do think the thing with Furia is that there are times where they do lose focus, which does make it hard to kind of stick it in with them. But I think Furia at their peak, I think this iteration of Furia with Swift is going to be really good. I think I really, dude, the way I have been holding out hope for this team. I think they're going to have like a 2024 Major 1 kind of run where they make the semis again. They could. Um, Making the semis would have to mean that they'd have to go through either Falcons, Geek, and Redacted to do so, which means they would definitely have the means to make the semis. So, and if they can do that, then I do think that they can make the semis or at the very least top 6 and put themselves back in a conversation where they're going to have to do, they're going to have a 21-22 type run when they had 21-22 Winter Major, not the World Championship, because that's asking way too much, but 21-22 Winter Major where they made top 6. They made top 6 with the upper bracket.
Mhm.
That's the type of run I'm looking for them right here. And I feel like, you know, majors are kind of deceptive. So they could. Um and I think that they're good enough to do it and not have it be a complete surprise. So they're my number 8.
All right. All right. Does it
Ooh,
change if I
I
tell
found a
you
dollar coin.
that I'm pretty sure, and this plays into, you got two groups of death, right? If you look at it, the two best groups, I'm pretty sure they face off against each other in the first round of these playoffs. So if they go out second in their
Mm.
group, they're in a top 8 match against whoever went out second of the actual group of death.
Jeez.
So that could, if they make top
I mean,
4
if they
with
get
that,
past Falcons redacted, they'd have the I'm just saying they'd have the
they
means to
would.
do it.
They would. They would. All
They
right.
definitely have the means to do it.
All right. Let's see.
Hmm.
Do we all have the same teams in the top 7? I think we do. I think so far we've covered every single team here. So
Yeah,
there seems
I
to be
think
a
so.
bit of a barrier here. I'm curious to see who we've got. Two
Hmm.
Shopify's and a Twisted Minds. That is a
Twisted
low Twisted Minds
Minds.
for what we've seen historically, but not necessarily
Wow.
completely unjustified. Mel, talk to me about them.
I'm so confused, but okay. I mean, Twisted Minds are good. Twisted Minds are the second best team in MENA. Twisted Minds, my problem with them, like I said earlier, is that their level goes up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down, and they can't keep the same level for the entire series, and that is a big risk. That is a big risk when you are putting this team down. I think this team can win the major. I genuinely do think every team I have in my top 7 can win the major. And Twisted is one of those teams, and I think Twisted have a better chance of winning the major than like maybe one or two of the other teams I put in my top seven. But it's just that their level is all over the place. Like this team could genuinely go 0-3 in C, and it should not be a surprise. Or they can go 3-0 in C, and it'll be like, okay, you know? It's freaking twisted. It's just that they can't sustain a level for the whole series. And that, who did they lose to? Like R8? Wasn't it R8 that they
Yep.
lost to? They had a loss and they went to 7 with sleeping a couple regionals ago. And I'm like, what is going on? They're all over the
That's
place.
the Mobbit
They're
effect.
all over the place, and I don't trust them. I don't trust it. I don't trust them.
All right. All right. I know Bob will talk about Twisted Minds later, I am sure. But you want to start our thoughts
Mm.
on this Shopify Rebellion squad?
Yeah, actually, like I do still feel pretty good about Shopify, despite them. I think being we have them both clearly below Redacted right here. I think this is still a great squad. I think NA is actually this top three. Maybe you could argue Space Station as well. It is one of our strongest top fours we've ever had, and I'm pretty excited for this team. I mean, yeah, three super talented players: FK, LJ, Kofor, right there. I think this Shopify team can beat anybody at their peak. I think we're at this point where like this top seven, top eight ish can I think all win the LAN. Any of these teams right here. Do I do like what I'm seeing at NRG, which is why NRG clearly NA number one in my opinion right now. But Shopify not far behind at all. Really not far behind. It's tough to like put it into words exactly, but I actually do feel good about this team. And I feel like, when you look at their group right there, they got Gentlemates. Might lose to Gentlemates, we'll see. That'll be a close series right there. But I think they'll comfortably get out of the group still. I think they don't lose to MIBR. They don't lose to Dela Cruz. I think this is a squad that could easily make a final, and I wouldn't be that surprised. I mean, FK, could it be his first land finally that he wins? It's not impossible. But with the teams like, KC, Energy, Falcons, Swiss Mines, Gentlemates, not going to be easy.
Yeah.
But it's doable. I think it's doable.
Yeah. I think it's tragic that you dropped 4 games in a row to Redacted when you looked so good at games 1 and 2. Like that was, you know, that was like, all right, we're gonna get the energy versus Rebellion for the 1 seed in the finals. It's gonna be peak. It's gonna be great. And it's like, no, they just decided to fall apart after that. And honestly, like I know I value head to head a lot, and this is the 7th and 8th spot. It's like, well, technically, most recently, Space Station beat Shopify Rebellion in the head to head. No, like, no, you can't do that when one of the squads has won a regional and one of them hasn't in recent memory, and it was a best of 5. I know SSG looked better that series. You still put this team against, you put the Shopify squad against Gentlemates. I'm having more confidence in them being Gentlemates than I do Space Station, and I think that's a completely valid take. Um,
Yeah.
they have a group that they should be able to get out of. Even if they get second in their group, that's not too concerning because they're going to get NIP or power in that bracket. I'm pretty sure. Sorry.
Mhm.
So in terms of winning the LAN, it's not impossible. They've got to figure out how to win big series again. They've shown that they can win big series, but it's honestly, have they though? In the past 2 events, I don't think they have won a big series, which is coming back to haunt them.
Yeah.
They have lost to
Yeah.
NRG badly. They lost to Redacted the first time that happened. They lost to Redacted this most recent event. And yeah, those series that they win, I mean, they beat Redacted twice in the first event when they're still a new team, and they beat Space Station in the finals in a revenge match. So truthfully, this team doesn't have as quality of a win as I thought they did. And maybe that's why they're the lowest out of these top 7s, but that doesn't mean that I don't think they can get them. I had less faith in Ultimates at this point last year than I do in Shopify Rebellion right
Mm.
now. And that Ultimate squad still went on to make the final in Birmingham, including taking down NRG. So,
Yeah.
yeah, these guys could do it. They got to get their act together. It wouldn't surprise me if they do. Um, and but until then, they're sitting the lowest. I had them up at 3 to start the year, and I know I've dropped them consistently,
Mm.
but I don't think that's necessarily aged the worst. So they could get back there pretty quickly.
Fair, fair. I do love seeing like Kofor, Reveal, Frosty. These guys still all like playing well.
Yep,
All still being at like towards the top of NA. It is fun to see, these snowmen, these guys right here popping
absolutely.
off still.
Yep. Notable omission here. Um, let's get into number
My
6.
kids right there, just saying.
Mel, let's close out our thoughts on Shopify Rebellion then, since we got them right here.
Oh my god. I I just feel like we have two different perspectives. I guess we all have a little bit of different perspectives on Shopify Rebellion. I think they're good. I think they're the third best team in an A. I think that their level is still very high, and that forgetting their ranking in an A, like power ranking, they are going to kind of kill everyone else internationally that's not called Karmine Corp. I do feel like they're going to be really good internationally against non-NA teams. I I they've had a better level than Twisted have. I just don't understand. They've had a better level the entire season that Twisted have. I just don't see the concept of putting Twisted above Shopify. Regardless of Shopify losing to Redacted in game 6 two regionals in a row, it's the second best team in NA that has shown probably the most consistency out of all of the other American teams. Like, Twisted are just dropping games all willy nilly, and Shopify have kept their level and have only lost to teams that are at their level or better than them. And that goes like only one or two teams in the entire region, arguably just one. So I think my 6 for Shopify is fine. I just don't understand how both of you are putting Shopify under Twisted Minds. That makes no sense to me. But
All right.
yeah, couldn't as you were.
Okay.
Shopify did lose to, what was it, Shuffling Kittens in Swiss this past regional,
Oh,
right? If I remember
that
correctly.
did happen, didn't it?
I feel like Twisted have been more consistent than Shopify. In my opinion, I feel like, I mean, sure, they lost some games, but Shopify's also lost games to a bunch of random teams, I feel like. And, like, I think Twisted, especially with that first regional win over Falcons, I was very impressed with that. And I feel like they haven't got a chance to show what they could do on the international stage yet with this new squad. And I feel like that duo right there, TRK, Nobu, and then with Monkey Moon there as well, I feel like they're just a better team than Shopify, in my opinion.
I I do think that Twisted almost has the opposite effect. Where it's like I talk about all the time, where it's like, in minor regions you need to be perfect to keep your level. You can see the effect where Furia has dropped down to 12 because I mean, yes, they're winning and they're getting the 1 seed out of Sam, but I just don't trust Sam. It almost has the opposite effect where it's like Twisted Minds, they have the aura of like, oh yeah, R8's actually pretty good. I have a lot of faith in them. And other than that, it's like, well, they're not getting challenged enough. So even if they are dropping like stupid series, like Mel, you were talking about with Project De La Cruz, it's like, yeah, they're just trolling. It doesn't matter. And it's like I don't think that's exactly the case with what's happening with Twisted Minds. They're definitely not trolling as much as Project De La Cruz is able to get away with in APAC. But it is like, okay, you're doing what's expected of you, and then they are still living off the hype of winning that first Open and including beating Falcons and Saudi E League twice. So maybe the
Okay,
swaps. I
so
think, yeah.
my question is, what has Twisted Minds shown you in comparison to what Shopify has shown us to say Twisted Minds is a clear better team than Shopify? Because for me, Twisted won Regional 1, Shopify won Regional 1.
Mm-hmm.
You're obviously allowed to drop games, but Twisted will look very good a couple games and then they'll look mediocre another couple games. Shopify doesn't really have that. Of course, they lost to like who even is isn't that like the Relating Wave team?
It is, yeah.
Like that's like okay, that's fine. NRG just went to like 5 with them. Like that's a team that is just I don't know why they just like biting the ankles of top teams in this region for whatever reason. Um, the my thing with them is Shopify are in a significantly more competitive region than Twisted is, and they have been more consistent considering the circumstances. compared to Twisted. Shopify doesn't have all of these gameplay fluctuations like Twisted does. Yeah, their level will go high one day, their level will be down the next, but they're still doing what is expected of them. Twisted is doing what is expected of them. It's just more impressive for Shopify to be doing this consistently in a region with more and more competitive depth than MENA. That is just my take on it, and I just can't see the concept of putting Twisted over this team after I don't know if we're watching the same Rocket League, to be honest. I don't know if we're watching the same Rocket League. I think that team is just flawed. So
All right, all right. I think
Um,
I struggle, and I'll talk a little bit about this with Twisted Minds being my number 6. They're pretty close in my book, obviously. Um, if you take the wins that Twisted Minds have had, like they got the win over Falcons, like Shopify, they beat Space Station on their way to win an event. Like, no props for beating Space Station, but those are two different quality of wins. And then since then, Shopify, I don't even know if they have done what I've expected of them, because I expected them to beat Redacted, and then I expected them to beat Redacted again, and I expected them to beat Space Station in groups, and they haven't got that done. I'm ignoring the Swiss loss to Shuffleskins because I want to forget. Sorry to the people involved with this team. I don't mean you any harm. I want to forget about Shuffleskins. I'm sorry. I'm done. But they were
that's so
ranked
real.
5th by pros in the power rankings heading into this year. That baffles me. I'm sorry. That baffles me. And then they take the series over.
What shuffles?
Yes. Like when they did the whole, like Gibbs
mhm.
did his whole polling all the teams in North America, who's number 1 through whatever. It's like Shuffles was 5th. 5th. I
Mm.
don't get it. I don't know how they were there. I don't know how they beat Shopify. I don't know how they take energy to 5, and I
I
certainly
mean,
don't
last
know
year they
how
were
you lose to
Evo, weren't they?
Unreal. Wait, who'd they lose to? Not Unreal.
Mm.
It was the new team. United Rogue. How do you lose to United Rogue after taking energy
Oh,
to
they lost
5?
to what was it? Creams and
Creams and
Hazo and
S5
Cosmic.
Cosmic and Hazo, dude. Like, how do you
Yeah.
how I just I'm done. I don't understand it. I don't. I don't.
I,
Mm.
they were Team Evo last year,
Yeah,
right?
they
No,
were.
that team was last year. I mean, that team was good last
I was
year.
more inspired by them
Like
last
they
year,
made
yeah.
a top 4 or 2.
Yep.
But now, it's a lot more competitive. I can see how preseason, because we were very unsure. We were like, okay, our top 4 preseason is gonna be like Energy, Shopify, Space Station, and Genji
Mhm.
preseason, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, then there's kind of the rest, and there was like Foot, there was Shuffles, Kittens, and then it was just like, who else are we gonna put there?
I still would have put Redacted and
So
Foot over them
I
from the get-go. But
Mm. Mhm.
yeah, that's fair. I mean,
but I mean that's
and we didn't have M80 either.
yeah,
Like we didn't
that's
have
months
this version
ago.
of M80 to start the
Yes,
preseason.
that's true. Or this version of
Mhm.
Dignitas. Yeah, that was a while ago. Since then, Shopify, I wanted to take a good win. I think if they take one good win, if they beat Space Station in groups, I think I have them above Twisted here. If they take down
Mm.
Redacted one more time, I have them above Twisted here. I know Twisted loses to R8. I've got them falling. I technically have Shopify falling, but I'm a little bit more steady in them. Um,
Mhm.
Twisted definitely have the chance to drop here. I mean, they could easily not make it out of their group. And if Shopify do and they look good against bad teams, I mean, it's just the way things go. Like Twisted Minds, I have no doubt we get out of the group that Shopify Rebellion is put in if they were to switch places. But Shopify might just get the chance to face some of those better teams, get the opportunity to take a win, and that might be enough to tip the scales. But both these teams aren't necessarily. I'd say Twisted Minds are more in free fall than Shopify. Um, but I've got the quality win just still edging out Twisted for me.
Mm.
And then Bop,
Yeah, that's fair. I don't.
let's go to Redacted.
Yeah.
Let's go to Redacted.
Yeah. One thing I'll mention before
Yeah.
we seen Shopify play NRG yet
hmm
with the split?
It was bad. It was a 4-0 for Energy. It was in the
Okay,
upper
okay,
AFL of
close.
Open 2. It was not close.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I also have Twisted above Shopify, because I feel like Twisted have a better chance at beating Falcons than Shopify has of beating NRG. That's one of the reasons why I ranked it like that as well. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. In terms of Redacted, I'll say one thing right now. I have Redacted winning this land. But
Okay,
It's over.
that's something just
It's
to
over.
drop before you continue your
you know,
point.
just
It's
All
pretty
over.
right,
pretty chill thing right there, Pretty
I
light thing.
respect
I
it.
do have
I
them winning
want
this
that.
land. I do have it. I'm not gonna curse them. There's no curse.
No,
No curse.
definitely not.
Um, no curse. But I do respect the five teams I have above them, and I think they are like more favorites and more have a better chance at winning it. Obviously, Redacted had their best regional right here, taking it to NRG. And it wasn't the best series ever, but I was proud, they made that top two. They made back-to-back top two, if I'm not mistaken. They did make
Yeah, they had that
back-to-back top
game
two,
seven
right?
one two in the upper final, right?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I guess
yeah,
NRG that was peak.
yeah. Yeah. So I am very excited for the squad. I do just think the five teams I have above them are just slightly more skillful, just a little bit. And we just haven't seen that much from Redacted. Obviously a new team right here, whereas the top five, I feel like there's a lot more players on these teams that we've seen for a bit longer. But I love Talk on this team. I think Two Piece fits in so well. I think Wavy is playing out of his mind. This team really plays well with each other. Like they really, really know to play with each other, and I just love this future for NA with these three guys right here. So 6 is a little low for me, but I just do respect these top five teams a lot.
All
So
right. All right. Let's see how they match up on Mel's and I list. Yep, we both got them at number 5. Um, but you got Gentlemates at 4. And I want to do the sandwich thing. I
mhm.
know we were just talking about Redacted. We'll close our thoughts on them in a second. You've got Gentlemates lowest at
Mm.
5, Bob. Talk to me about that.
Gentlemates at 5. I do realize they just beat KC in a pretty good series. They actually looked really, really well in that series right there. But I just need to see a little bit more consistency out of them before I put them like, in that 2, 3, 4 spot right there. I feel like KC still are a far better team in my opinion. I know they lost, of course, but I feel like KC against an NRG, I think they have a much better chance of beating NRG than a Gentlemates does. We'll see though. We'll see. Gentlemates, if they prove this land that they can make like maybe I think top four is very doable. If they make a top two, if they win the land, hey, they might be best team in EU. But for me, I have a lot of respect on KC. It's gonna take a lot for me to ever put KC at number 2 in EU. So Gentlemates at 5. I think I have a couple other teams above them that are a little bit better in my opinion. That I think I have a better chance at this land. But I will say this is a very good team. Before this regional, I was scared that KC were just by far best team in EU, one team region, EU kind of washed. But Genomics have proved that yo, we are still good. EU not washed yet. Maybe soon we'll see. But for now, Genomics good team. Good team.
All right. All right. Mel, you want to take Redacted first or me?
Go for it.
All right. Um, Redacted at 5. Bop, you said you have him winning the land. You've got him the lowest. Got him the lowest.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't track.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but no, I've continuously been inspired by these guys. I think the world has been inspired by these guys. It, you take a open one. I mean, you lose to Rebellion, you lose to Rebellion again. You beat NRG in that in groups. It's like, oh, okay, cool new team on the block. You go out, you beat Ninjas in Pajamas on the world stage. Okay, that's a wake up call. Especially
Mm-hmm.
considering Ninjas in Pajamas should have beaten Karmine Corp in that final. And since then, it's continued to go up and up and up. You beat Shopify in Event 2 to make the finals. You beat NRG this most recent event. You still take down Shopify again. You make the finals the second time. You don't end up winning it. But just taking the series over NRG in such an electric fashion, having the ice to, win a Game 7 overtime in the fashion that you did, like, what a shot by Wavy to finish that off. And they're continuing to go up. I couldn't not move them up here. I think, I understand they're in the second group of death. I'm pretty confident in them. I think they make it out. I think they should be favorites to make it out over the likes of Geeky and Furia, and I'm hoping to see them do it. Um, but this team is inspiring. It's the most inspiring that a young squad coming out of North America has been in quite a while, and I say that as a fan of Space Station Gaming who was that inspiring team last year where it's like, oh, this team could actually go out there and do stuff. They could, even though Space Station won an event last year, I feel more ready to back Redacted here in this major than I had to back Space Station at Raleigh. And a large part of that is because they've already proven it on the international stage, and they have taken down the biggest team in North America, being NRG. So yeah, this redacted squad, they're on the up and up. I'm excited to see what they can do this land. It would not shock me to see a top four, even with the group and the bracket that they're going to play into. So, Mel, you want to close this out?
Yeah, no, I mean, for Redacted, their regional floor so far has been top four in the second best, or maybe even the first best region in the world in terms of competitiveness and high level depth. They have been able to show such a like amazing. They're the most consistent team in the region right now. And I don't think that should be a conversation like top four, top two after our number one seed didn't make the top eight, and after Shopify just failed to make the grand final twice. They're the most consistent team in the region. And I think Talk, first of all, he's not a bust, everybody. He wasn't this person that we were talking about for 2 years, and that just didn't end up going anywhere because people were like genuinely saying last year like he's the most overhyped player in NA history, or one of them, like besides for Aqua. But you know what I'm saying? And he came and he freaking rocked. And Wavy, I turn on my computer this year. I see them at the kickoff line, and these people in the sky Wavy's over here just getting past three players in the air and taking out people. And then they probably should have beat Shop. They could have beat Shopify in that kickoff line
Oh yeah.
regional top four, and then could have done the same thing when they had the opportunity to make top two. And it's just so close. They figured out what they needed to do um to beat Shopify, and they went ahead and they did it. Not only that, their ceiling, just like the other top four teams here, is regional champion. Shopify, Space Station haven't made a grand final. Shopify or Redacted and Energy have made the most grand finals out of any other North American team, and this has just been so incredibly good for them. I think they are going. I don't know if they're going to win the major, but I do think that they have an opportunity to go very close. But remember, this is their first major. Like, I mean, Wavy and Two Piece went to Worlds wild card last year, whatever it was. Um, but this is their first actual major. Getting out of groups is going to be pretty hard, especially because like you're going to go on the stage for the first time having prepared, and you're going to feel nervous. You're going to be playing Falcon. You're going to be playing who? You're going to be playing
Falcons
Falcons
PK3.
first round.
Oh gosh.
Okay, and that match against Falcons is going to set the tone
Yep.
for their run in Boston for sure.
All right. All right. Into the top four. Let's get it. I know we're gonna see some gentlemates here. At least pretty soon. We've already seen them once. We're gonna see them twice here. Bob, you finally got Twisted Minds showing up, which gives all three of us having the same teams in the top three. I guess that's not too surprising. But before we get there, let's talk about Twisted Minds all the way up at 4.
Yeah, I just don't think there's that much of a gap between Falcons and Twisted Minds. I think both these teams on their day could beat each other. I think internationally, they're actually really similar. And one of the reasons why is I don't fully believe in Drawley on Falcons yet. We'll talk about Falcons later, I'm sure.
Oh, I agree
But
with that.
yeah, I feel like had really high expectations. I was like, yo, this team is gonna like just destroy everyone in the whole world. And then like we watch them play and it's like they're good. Don't get me wrong, they're very good. But it just doesn't click the way I thought it might have clicked. I thought it would be like just a crazy super team. So I just feel like there's not that much gap between Twisted and Falcons, and I'm not confident in Falcons just like destroying everybody. And I think Twisted have a chance of even being better than Falcons at this land. So that's why I have Falcons so high. I think they're a great team. I think Gentlemates, again, really good squad. Redacted. All these teams are really good. But I think this TRK and Nobu duo is actually fantastic. And with Monkey Moon on their team, honestly, anything can happen at a land with Monkey Moon. So, yeah.
All right. All right. I mean, I don't think there's truer words that have been spoken. Anything can happen. They can lose twice to minor regions, or they can win world championships. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into gentlemates to close this out. Mel, you let me go first last time. I'm gonna throw it to you this time. Defending EU regional champions, gentlemates. What do you got for me?
Well, for me, I preseason ranked them at my number one because they just looked so good. They were the best team in scrims. They were 5-2ing, 7-0ing Falcons and Twisted. They were beating literally everybody in scrims going into the event. They won the LAN, that one French LAN tournament. They beat Carmine Corp like 4-2, and it like for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, this Carmine Corp roster is going to be very vulnerable. They ended up not being very vulnerable, and Genomates didn't have a great start to the season, and it took them a second to get back where they needed to be. What did they made like they lost a couple of weird matches and then found a way to raise their level to start the year, which I'm very happy for. I Nas has looked so freaking good on this Gentlemates team. Um, I feel like if they're gonna win, it's going to be because of him. Not like because of him, but he's gonna have one hell of an impact. I think Oski is one of the best players like in the world in general. I think right now, I think he's in my top 15. He's in my top 10, maybe. I don't. I just rate Oski so high, and let me tell you about my boy Archie. Oh, that brother can cook. Oh my goodness. When Archie, this land is about to be a top three player in the world, bro. Forget the jinx. Like I'm telling you right now, if he has that world championship level that he what we had with DK, where he just had to freaking play the game best, he's going to be a top three player at the major when he needs to be, and he's just so good for me. I think Gentlemates have the best, in my head, they have the best like percentage chance for me of winning the major in my head. Like let's like looking at all of these other like the circumstances and looking at all of these groups. um Genomates have the second easiest group to get out of.
Hmm.
Like they just have to beat MIBR and Delacruz, which for them, I think, unless something weird happens, it should be easy work for them. My only thing with them that's a concern is the mental. I think the mental can get pretty down pretty easily. And I am a little scared to see what happens if that happens against MIBR, or if that happens against Project Delacruz, with Project Delacruz pre-jump double tap being on your head, or like they what they did in the last regional against my friend Ray, which is like I've been hanging out with the past couple of days, in the semifinal on Ray's head. By the way, Ray, I hope you're watching this on your freaking head. By the way, Sphinx Psycho double passed it to Catalysm, and Catalysm double tapped it down on Tosses. And I'm like, oh my God. If you have a team doing that to you on the main stage, you know how demoralizing that is? That'd be terrible. But, forgetting all that theoretical nonsense, I think General Ace have the best chance to land. And I feel like they will. And I want them to. I really want them to because I love those guys. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was when I was on with 50, he was asking me before we went live, like who I think is going to win the LAN, and I thought it could be, last year going into Raleigh, I'm like something weird's going to happen. Everyone's got their favorites. Something really weird is going to happen. It is not going to be a normal LAN, and we ended up with Falcons versus Dignitas in the final. So I would say that something weird happened. I'm slightly getting that
Oh,
feeling.
yeah.
I'm slightly getting that feeling. But he asked me who I thought was going to win the LAN, and I was like, I don't want to give any of the like super favorites. I'm saying Gentlemates might as well. Now, I don't think they have the best odds to win it. I think I would still give that to NRG because their group is also super easy to get out of, and they've shown that they can compete, especially on the RLCS stage at the highest level. Not that Gentlemates can't, but I have a little bit more faith in NRG. Excluded the fact I don't think they're I think it's Michael from Shift who calls it like full tummy syndrome, where it's like they've won too recently, they can't go out and win it again. I don't really see that with NRG. I think they had their slap in the face by getting 9th through 12th, and we're like, okay, we're never letting that happen again. But this Gentleman squad, yeah, they take down Karmine Corp. They had a bit of a vitality problem early in the split. They lose to them at the kickoff land. They lose to them at Swiss stage in Open 2. But their Open 2 run was very good aside from losing to Carmine Corp. And that was the Carmine Corp that's, early season KC inevitable, right? They take him down in the final this time. I think we were talking last week about how they were EU2 by doing nothing for some people. They're EO2 by doing something this time. So, yeah, they worked their way up to 4 for me. They could very easily take this land, in my estimation. But, yeah, things are looking on the up and up for this squad. So, all right,
Okay, I'm curious. Who do you guys think is the best player on Gentlemates?
I got Oski. I'm gonna be honest. I got Oski.
I want to say Archie because Archie's my bro, but I'm gonna say Nas. I think Nas has just looked so good recently. But they all have, dude. They all have their moments. But
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say Nas.
I think that's
They're
what
just
makes
so
them
Yeah.
so
good.
dangerous. That any three of them can be considered the best team or the best on their team. So,
Yeah, and I think I would give the slight edge to Nas as well as like so close. But I think that's what happens when you have like these top like three, four, five teams. Is like the reason why these are the best teams in the world is because any one of these players can be the best player on this team. There's not just a clear player. You look
hmm
at like Vitality, obviously Zen best player. Look at these teams down there. Whereas when you get to this top three, top four, top five, it's like any one of these players can be the best player. So that's why they're so good.
yep. All right, let's get into number three. I have an inkling that we're going to be on the same page here. We are. It's a Falcons across the board. Um,
Oh.
where do we start then? Who do we start with? Mel, I'm actually curious with you because you said you thought Furia could make it out of their group, and then you've got Redacted as high as 5. If Furia going to make it out of their group, and you got Redacted at 5 and Falcons at 3, is it that you think Falcons might struggle to make it out of their group? You think Redacted are going to make it out of their group? I know you've been kind of harsh on Falcons, so talk to me about them.
They to start the year, I kept a close eye on them because I had a lot of friends that are kind of in that environment, and I kind of see what's going on over there in that roster and in that organization as a whole, and I saw what was happening, and I said, yeah, this team doesn't have an identity. They don't have a real culture. They're not going to start the year well, and they didn't start the year, or like they didn't start the season well, I should say, and they didn't. Um, and they have begun to grow, and their level has raised, but it they look better. Not necessarily like they did, yes, improve, but at the same time, I in my mind, I feel like Twisted's level regressed a little bit from regional one to the other two regionals, and I'm still not so confident. I'm with Bob here. I'm not so confident about Drowley on this team, and I wasn't when he started. He just looked like in the scrims when I was seeing their first couple of scrims. Like I don't know if they won their first 10 international scrims. Like he just looked so out of place. And each scrim they were trying something different, and the coach was obviously trying to theory craft, and everything that they were trying to do to start the season, like in the scrims before Saudi E League or after Saudi, it just was not working. And that's why I'm like, yeah, they're gonna be good enough talent. They're raw talent enough to make the top two. Winning it's going to be a whole different thing as long as Twisted makes a grand final. They did twice in Saudi E League in the Regional One. They didn't, and they've raised their level a little bit here. But I mean, another thing about this team though is like I have my concerns about them regionally, but I've talked to like almost every pro I know, and they say regionally they'll look terrible. They'll go internationally and they'll be the best team in the world. Like something happens when they're no longer on 90 ping
hmm
and they're competing at the highest level. So I am not confident enough to rate them higher than 3. So I'm in a bit of a weird place where I'm like, okay, I am not saying I'm being generous with 3. I'm being careful with 3 for the fact that they could be better or that they could be worse.
hmm All right, I can see that. See that, Bop? You want to follow up?
Mm. Yeah, that's very fair. Like, I pretty much agree with pretty much everything that Mel said right there. Where it's like the Drowley pick, like I questioned it a little bit when they happened. I was like, wait, this could be a super team, but I was like, I love TRK on this squad. Like, I don't know if I like this move. And then y- yeah, like regionally, I feel like this is a squad that like hasn't looked at best, which is weird because obviously they won 2 out of 3 regionals. They could have won that first one as well. But it's just internationally, like this is Falcons, this is Roas, this is Clears, this is Drawley. This is the 3 of the best players in the world right here on land. Doesn't matter if they're against Energy, KC, any one of these teams. They could be anyone. Like it would not be a surprise at all if they win this land. For me personally, I think they're gonna take a little bit of time. I think they make like a top 4, and that's probably where they drop off here. I think next land, I think Worlds will do even better. I think it just takes them a little bit with Drawley to be as consistent as they should be. But I think third is a perfect spot for them right now because yeah, like Mel said, they could easily be top two. They could easily fall off a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like them here.
It,
This is gonna be a great regional to show where they are at
yeah.
compared to the rest of the field. Because I have absolutely no idea whatsoever whether they regressed or not. I do think they got better since the start of the season, but so has literally everyone else. So I have no freaking idea where that team could be.
Yeah. I get the idea of being conservative in both directions, where it's like they could be the best or they could be a few spots behind where we have them. It wouldn't surprise me to see something similar to what we saw with their storyline last year, where they, I mean, in the first major, they took like three quality losses, but they lost to everybody who was actually competitive. And then come major
Yeah.
two, they actually take the wins. Granted, they face Dignitas on repeat, but they actually take the wins. And then they make the final at Worlds as well. So yeah, honestly, I don't think three is a bad spot for them. I like the top two teams here a lot, which I think is, you know, we all have the same top two. We're between Carmine, we're between NRG. Let's go ahead and get into it though, because I'm very curious if we've got. I mean, historically, we've had Carmine Corp at number one on aggregate. Do we have any movements? I'm the only one.
Hey, reel it
Ooh.
off.
I'm the only
All
one.
right.
All right, let's
Uh,
see. I can't highlight that team. Oh, why is it doing that? The comment is screwing me up. I've got energy at one. You guys still have Carmine Core at one. I've the justification behind it. I honestly am completely, and this is very unlike me. I'm completely writing off Open One. I just don't even care that that happened when it
Oh,
comes to
so am I,
NRG.
dude. I'm not gonna lie. They
Um,
didn't prepare at all.
and they've clearly bounced back since then. They said they wanted the break. I think it was kind of sudden and like surprising, even to the pro players, when it's like, oh, you mean we're going to be playing our first Open in November suddenly? Like, I don't think they were ready coming off that World Championship to be like, yep, we got to get in, we got to grind, we got to make sure we're ready for this Copenhagen major. They were just like, all right, we missed it, we'll bounce back. They controlled their own destiny to the one seed, and they got it in this most recent Open. And despite a loss to Redacted in that Game 7 overtime, and I think they lose to Dignitas and Swiss if we're being picky. They ended the last season at number one, and I think, especially if you compare to last season with these top teams, it's like Carmine Corp downgrade on paper. I don't think they're as good on the pitch as well, and Carmine Corp is coming off of a worse loss in their final to Gentlemates, and NRG's taking care of business, getting their revenge, and really cleaning it up. So with the state of North America right now, I think they are showing more competition at the top level than Europe. And considering NRG is winning now and doing the best that they can, Carmine Corp slips up once, and I'm maybe a bit too harsh on the Resi Smokes Toxic thing as well. But I can't get that out of my head. I can't get the Magnifico loss out of my head. These guys they just start the tournament by not dropping stupid best of fives. And NRG's worst best of five loss recently is Dignitas, and that's at least to me, pretty respectable in comparison to some of the stuff I've seen out of Carmine Core. If you look at the same page, so yeah, maybe it's bold, maybe it's not, but I'm I'm calling it early. Early season Carmine Core might be done. So
Okay.
who wants to fight me
No,
first?
I agree. I agree. I'm putting Carmine Corp at one just because they made three consecutive grand finals.
hmm
Um, and I want to say NRG's in better form, but they didn't look amazing in this last regional of the one. They still won it. You're gonna get online, you're gonna get international, and all of these inconsistencies are gonna have to go out the window.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be perfect when you get offline. And I feel like NRG has a better chance of I can't even say that. I think they're both like in my head, they're in the same place for me when it comes to odds of winning. Karma and Corp just have to get through their group.
Yeah.
And what will like the thing is with NRG and NRG could come out second in their group and end up winning. They can somehow come out second in their group and they'll end up winning. Same thing with Carmine, because those are the two best teams in the world of raising their level mid tournament and dramatically at that.
hmm
So it's gonna come down to on the day for both of them. It's gonna come down to on the day, and for me it's just 1-1. I'm not trying to get killed by the Karmine Corp fans this week. So I'll for me it's 1-1, but I'll put Carmine there because of the three grand finals they
All
made.
right.
Mm, fair, fair. I think both the teams are so close. I think they're insanely close. And I think it's tough because like Energy didn't make the kickoff land, and I think KC looked really, really good at the kickoff land. So it's like I want to put KC above them, which is what I did then because of that. But with Energy obviously bouncing back, winning the past two regionals, looking very good. Obviously looking like a dominant NA1 in my opinion, very, very clear. It's so close. I do think Atao is probably the best player in the world. I think Vatira looks amazing, and I think this LAN will depend a lot on Juicy as well. I think Juicy played amazing at the kickoff LAN, and if he continues to play really well this LAN, I think they could easily just win it again. It is so close, and I think it's impossible to know what will happen until it does happen. And if Energy wins this LAN, they're number one. If KC wins the LAN, they're number one. Um, it is so close. It is so close. But I will still respect the way KC has been playing, despite their loss in the last match they played against Shadowmates, and it wasn't. It was actually they didn't play that well. But we do all have Shadowmates above Redacted. I think Shadowmates is just a really, really good team, and that's a quality loss right there. I think KFC is still the best team in the world. I think they have the best players in the world on their team, and I think they are the favorites to win this LAN.
Okay. All right. I think that wraps us up. I think that's 20 teams. I think we made it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm curious to see across the board. I think most everyone's going to have this KC NRG duo. Maybe a couple Falcons thrown in there at number 2 over one of those teams, but definitely a lot of confidence in the top two team or in the top team from both North America and Europe heading into this LAN. Um,
Hmm.
but with all of that said, thank you both for coming on. It's been an absolute blast. I know Mel, this was your first time on this ranking show, so really appreciate having you here. And Bop, you've done this a couple times with me
Of
before. I'm glad to see your
course.
face in this one. I can't remember. This might be the first time we've done face cam on this one. Um, but it's been great to talk this through. It's been great to prep for this Boston Major. I'm really excited for this week. Um, before we head out,
Yeah, Martian, I'll see you in Boston,
I'll see you
bro.
there. Yeah, it'll be great. Um, before we head out, though, want to give the chance for some shout outs. Bop, I'll let you go first. We'll go top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, shout out MENA. I feel like MENA's improving. I feel like this is gonna be a squad that does win a world championship very soon. Maybe this year, maybe. Shout out everyone on Twitter. Shout out Mel. Shout out Martian. You guys are the goats.
All right, Mel, what
I
you got?
appreciate that. I got big shout out to Alex A1EKZ for his trading cards.
Mm-hmm.
He's got this amazing. He's gonna bring them to. You should see them, Martian. He's gonna bring them to Boston, and he's got all of these. I have like a whole set, and I got them signed by all the pros. Like all the creators have been kind of trading them
Yeah.
a bit, and I think it's really really cool. Especially because as time goes on, the cards are gonna end up being worth kind of more. Um, and I guess also big shout out to One and Esports for first of all running the APAC Regional 2 production after all of that nonsense. And big up to Gex. And also up to of for them for also like picking me up just for Boston. So I
Yeah.
could put some content down and I have an excuse to be in the press room. So that's really really cool. And big shout out to Paul Shepard because I know my brother I have been annoying you and you have been working your butt off for this line. So I hope I'll see you there. And I apologize. I'm still a child. Remember that. I'm still a baby. So don't go too hard on me yet. But I'm gonna be an adult soon enough. But big ups to all of them and big shout out to you, Martian, for doing this, putting this together.
Yeah.
This is low key cool, and I love having these discussions as long as Medallion's not rage baiting me. And this is really cool. So I appreciate that.
Yep. We definitely did not get as far to the rage bait as we did with the top 25 list pre Raleigh because I know that was a masterclass in this rage bait,
Oh,
and then I took over the minute you went to
oh
bed. That
man.
was some streams, but yeah.
Yeah, that was peak.
Yep. I'll shout out both of you guys for coming on. Shout out my wife who helped me set up this beautiful room. We just moved, and she got me that sign for Christmas, which is really sweet. She told me that I was like, "What are we? I don't need a sign. Like I'm just I'm here. I'm just doing my thing. I got like 3K subs. I'm not massive." And she's like, "You got to have the confidence of a mediocre white guy." So here I am having the confidence of a mediocre white
I'm
guy with a
crying. That's
microphone and now a
hilarious.
neon sign. But appreciate
Fair
her for
enough,
giving
fair
me that
enough.
confidence
She
boost.
did put me F tier though in the
She
name tier
did
list.
put you F tier
So
the name tier list. That was kind of
There was a
simple. I'm not
name
gonna lie.
tier
You got to
list?
check that out, Mel. There was a name tier list. I'm pretty sure
I
you were in there as
will.
well.
yeah,
I
Okay.
think you were in there. I'd be shocked if I didn't put you in that list. But yeah.
I think he
Sh-
was.
shout out her, and
I'm
then
scared. Okay.
and then shout out the channel members for continuing to support. Appreciate you guys sticking around despite the very few and far between content. Hoping to get things back up as life stabilizes. But yeah,
Mm.
excited for this week. Looking forward to Boston. Thank you guys both for coming on, and I will catch everybody later. Thanks for watching.